Chapter 32-29. Sky-devouring Ratchwa when stood at the door and watched as Uefu and Moore left. He did not follow them. Instead, he secretly used the torch dragon eye and discovered several powerful figures hiding in the shadows on the 10th floor of the Greenblood tea house. These hidden figures were all experts above the Master of Creation realm, and he could even sense an extremely powerful aura. He knew that the owner of this aura should be a supreme expert above the early Master of Heaven Conduit realm. It seems that the fire elephant race values Mooring very much. They actually sent so many experts to secretly protect her, Zhuowen muttered to himself. Yu Lu and Siku, who were beside Zhuowen, were extremely nervous. When they saw that Zhuowen didn't make a move, they let out a sigh of relief. Phoenix Blood City had a rule that private fights were not allowed. The Greenblood tea house's rules were even stricter. Once a private fight was discovered, they would immediately be held accountable. Then, the entire Greenblood tea house's experts would make a move. Those who broke the rules would definitely be in big trouble. Lord Zhuo, you must not be impulsive. The Greenblood tea house has a heaven-piercing master overseeing it. Moreover, the 3 commanders of the Phoenix Blood City's enforcement team are also heaven-piercing masters. If you make a move in the Greenblood tea house, not only will the Greenblood tea house's experts make a move, but the enforcement team will also appear to encircle and suppress you. Even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, I'm afraid you won't be a match for them. Siku's eyes were filled with worry as he hurriedly advised Zhuowen. Then, is there any way for me to fight with others without being punished? Zhuowen asked. There is. In Phoenix Blood City, there's a stage called the Blood Weeping Arena. This stage is a place for cultivators with grudges in Phoenix Blood City to fight to the death. If there's a huge conflict between 2 parties because of some matter, then they can settle it at the Blood Weeping Arena. Once they enter the Blood Weeping Arena, their life and death will be up to the heavens. Siku continued, however, if you want to fight to the death on the Blood Weeping Arena, both parties must agree, otherwise, it won't be valid. Zhuowen's eyes flashed. He didn't expect Phoenix Blood City to have such a place. Go. Siku, bring me to the Weeping Blood platform to take a look. Also, Brother Yu Lu, help me track Mooring, Zhuowen said indifferently. Yu Lu nodded and directly left the Bloodshed tea house. Ever since Zhuowen had displayed all sorts of powerful abilities, Yu Lu's admiration for Zhuowen had reached a point of no return. He had always obeyed Zhuowen's orders. After Yu Lu left, Siku led Zhuowen toward the Blood Weeping platform. The Weeping Blood platform wasn't far from the Greenblood tea house. It was located northeast of the Greenblood tea house, about 15 minutes away. The Blood Weeping arena was 6 meters tall. The arena was carved out of blood-colored jade. From afar, it looked like a stone dyed red with blood. At this moment, many foreign races had gathered around the Blood Weeping platform. Their gazes were all focused on the Blood Weeping platform. Zhuowen followed everyone's gazes and landed on the Blood Weeping platform. He saw a tall and sturdy figure standing on the platform. It was a foreign race youth. His skin had a metallic luster, and he was 3 meters tall. Zhuowen wasn't unfamiliar with this foreign race youth. He was the Fire Elephant clan's young patriarch, Mooring, whom he had just met in the Greenblood tea house. Not far from the Blood Weeping platform, the Sacred Marten clan's proud daughter of heaven, Uefu, had her arms crossed in front of her chest. Her beautiful eyes were coldly looking at Mooring on the Blood Weeping platform. Zhuowen saw Yu Lu, who was silently observing the situation from the periphery of the crowd. Zhuowen walked over to greet Yu Lu and asked, Yu Lu, what's going on? Why is Mooring on the Blood Weeping platform? Yu Lu smiled bitterly and said, I just went out to track Mooring when I discovered one of Uefu's suitors blocking the entrance of the Greenblood tea house. They were arguing with Mooring. Mooring and that suitor were arguing very fiercely. In the end, the 2 of them couldn't take it anymore and proposed to settle their grudge at the Blood Weeping platform. Zhuowen nodded. So that's how it was. He then saw a thin figure slowly walk up from the Blood Weeping platform. This foreign race youth was also very young, but he had shifty eyes and black fur on his face. His sharp nose made him look a little like a rat. That's the heaven-devouring rat clan's genius, Rui Lun. It's said that he just came out of seclusion and has already advanced to the early stage Lord of Creation realm. Rui Lun has always been Yuefu's crazy suitor. In the past, he wasn't very strong, so he didn't show it very clearly. Instead, he cultivated in seclusion like crazy. Now that Rui Lun has broken through to the Lord of Creation realm, his ambitions are higher than the heavens. Naturally, he's unhappy to see the Fire Elephant clan's young patriarch pestering Yuefu. It's expected that the two of them will settle their grudge at the blood-weeping platform. Siku said softly to Zhuoan. The heaven-devouring rat clan is the same as the Fire Elephant clan. They're both vassal tribes of the Phoenix people. Moreover, the difference in strength between the two clans isn't great. Moreover, they fought over territory in the past, so their grudge is deep, Yu Lu interrupted. Mooring's cultivation is lower than Rui Lun's, right? He actually agreed to this deathmatch? Zhuoan said with some surprise. That's not necessarily true. In terms of talent, the Fire Elephant clan's talent is even more terrifying than the heaven-devouring rat clan's. Mooring might not be Rui Lun's match, but it won't be that easy for Rui Lun to kill Mooring, Siku said. Zhuoan shook his head, speechless. Whether it was Rui Lun or Mooring, they were both monstrous geniuses of their respective clans. Now, they were actually fighting to the death over a woman. He glanced at Yuefu below the blood-weeping platform. Her eyes were cold and emotionless. He knew that Yuefu didn't have any feelings for Rui Lun or Mooring. As far as she was concerned, Rui Lun and Mooring fighting over her was just a show. Miss, the Fire Elephant clan and the Heaven-Devouring Rat clan aren't simple. If something happens to both of them, will the two clans have a problem with our Sacred Marten clan? The servant girl by Yuefu's side looked at Mooring and Rui Lun, who were facing each other from afar, with a trace of worry in her beautiful eyes. Yuefu smiled lightly, and her smile was filled with mockery. She said, "Don't worry, Xiaoli. Even if both of them die on the blood-weeping platform, the Fire Elephant clan and the Heaven-Devouring Rat clan won't look for trouble with our Sacred Marten clan. They might even obediently come and apologize to our Sacred Marten clan." The servant girl was puzzled. Although the Sacred Marten clan was very powerful, it was at most on par with the Fire Elephant clan and the Heaven-Devouring Rat clan. If something happened to Mooring and Rui Lun, why would the two clans take the initiative to apologize to the Sacred Marten clan? Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a proud expression, and she said softly, "Because my heart already belongs to someone, and you're no stranger to this person. He's the current #1 genius of the Phoenix people, Feng Bumming." It's actually Feng Bumming. The servant girl revealed a shocked expression. Among the younger generation of the entire Eldritch Heaven region, Feng Bumming definitely had a thunderous reputation. In the past, the most famous junior geniuses of the Phoenix people were the Phoenix people's Saintess and Feng Bumming. Both of them were known as the Phoenix people's golden couple. The reason why the Phoenix people's Saintess was so famous was not because of how terrifying her cultivation was, but because she possessed the rare 9-9 Phoenix body bloodline of the Phoenix people. This bloodline was simply too terrifying. If she could mature, she would definitely become an unparalleled expert. Feng Bumming was different. His bloodline could only be considered above average, but his talent was a rare freak among the Phoenix people. His cultivation speed was terrifyingly fast. In just a short 1,000 years, he had stepped into the third step of Dao validation. Chapter 3230. Feng Bumming was a true god's favored son. Compared to Feng Bumming, Mobo and Rueluan were like clouds and mud. There was no comparison at all. Auspicious Lun and Mooring were at most famous in their own clans and the area around Phoenix Blood City. They were just ordinary people in the entire primitive heaven domain. The servant girl's beautiful eyes were filled with excitement. She knew very well that if Miss could really hook up with Feng Bumming, the entire Sacred Marten clan would rise because of Miss. This servant congratulates Miss. Compared to Lord Feng Bumming, Mooring and Auspicious Lun are nothing. Our Sacred Marten clan will also have the support of the Phoenix people. The Fire Elephant clan and Heaven-Devouring Rat clan won't be in our eyes at that time, the servant girl said excitedly. Yuefu lifted her chin slightly, and the arrogance in her beautiful eyes became even more intense. She said indifferently, "This is a secret. You can't spread it. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Hearing this, the servant girl's delicate body trembled. She knew very well what consequences Yuefu was talking about. She hurriedly promised that she would definitely not speak of this matter. Speaking of which, Auspicious Lun and Mooring are really stupid. Until now, they still foolishly went to the blood-weeping platform, for Miss Little did they know that your heart already belongs to someone. The servant girl chuckled. Hihi, they're just two guys who are wagging their tails and begging for pity. Do they really think I'll like them? Yuefu shook her head and mocked. Miss, I'm curious. Who will win this deathmatch between the two of them? Mooring's cultivation is even lower than Auspicious Lun's. I think Mooring will lose. The servant girl suddenly asked curiously. After knowing that Yuefu's mysterious partner was phone bumming, the servant girl was completely not worried about the consequences of Mooring and Auspicious Lun being injured in the battle. Mooring is not simple. The outcome of this deathmatch is not certain. They've started now. We'll know when we watch, Yuefu said. As soon as Yuefu finished speaking, everyone below the platform realized that Mooring and Auspicious Lun had already started fighting. Mooring's entire body emitted violent flames. The terrifying flames swept out and formed a huge flaming elephant behind him. Rui Lun's entire body was covered with spiraling chi. These chi swept out and formed a gigantic heaven-swallowing rat behind him. Mooring, you haven't even broken through to the creator realm, yet you dare to challenge me to the blood-weeping arena? I really don't know where your courage comes from, but don't worry, I won't let you die a painful death. I'll kill you in one strike and let you die a quick death. Rui Lun's voice was sharp, like the shriek of some kind of rat. He stomped his right foot, and a terrifying devouring chi burst out, overflowing in all directions. With a terrifying aura, Rui Lun shot toward the Mooring like an arrow. He didn't hold back at all as he unleashed the aura of the creator. After everyone below the stage felt the terrifying aura of Lucky Lun, their gazes all revealed expressions of fear. As expected of Rueluan from the heaven-devouring rat clan. After becoming a Lord of Creation, his aura is even stronger than an ordinary early-stage Lord of Creation. It looks like Mooring is in danger. There was a lot of discussion below the stage. None of them were very optimistic about the Mooring. Mooring snorted coldly and also took a step forward. Blazing flames swept out, flying toward Rui Lun. He actually planned on clashing head-on with Rui Lun. Mooring, you're courting death. Rui Lun laughed wildly. His right hand suddenly struck out, and the incomparably enormous heaven-devouring rat image behind him fell toward Mooring like a mountain. However, the enormous fire elephant behind Mooring wasn't afraid at all. It fiercely collided with the heaven-devouring rat image, and a terrifying shockwave dispersed with a boom. However, when these shockwaves landed on the edge of the blood-weeping arena, they were blocked by an energy barrier, preventing the shockwaves from spreading out and causing harm to the spectators. Clearly, a powerful barrier had been set up around the blood-weeping arena to filter out the shockwaves of the battle. Bang! Mooring snorted and retreated repeatedly, all the way to the edge of the arena. Rui Lun's figure merely swayed before he stabilized himself again. Everyone could see the difference between the two with a single glance. Mooring was much weaker than Rui Lun. Mooring, how dare you steal my woman with such little strength? You're really courting death. Rui Lun's gaze was like lightning. He stomped his right foot, and a terrifying shockwave exploded under his feet. He flew toward Mooring like a rock spreading its wings. Mooring's expression changed slightly. He clenched his right fist, and a blood-colored divine arrow had appeared in his right hand at some unknown time. Mooring spat a mouthful of blood onto the divine blood-colored arrow. At the same time, the energy within his body frantically poured into the divine blood-colored arrow. Instantly, a terrifying killing intent erupted from the divine blood-colored arrow, exploding like a wave. Rui Lun's expression changed slightly. The killing intent on the divine blood-colored arrow was too terrifying. Even he felt his heart palpitate. Rui Lun, die. Mooring's eyes were filled with madness. He suddenly slapped the end of the divine blood-colored arrow. Immediately, the crazy killing intent contained within the divine arrow exploded with a boom. Whoosh! The divine blood-colored arrow was extremely fast. It turned into a streak of bloody light that streaked across the air, carrying with it a terrifying killing intent. Rui Lun crazily shouted. He exploded with all his energy, and fiercely blasted the divine blood-colored arrow. At this moment, Rui Lun's heart was filled with bitterness. He originally wanted to dodge the divine blood-colored arrow, but it was too fast. Moreover, he was too close to mooring, so he had no time to dodge. The only thing he could do now was to use all his strength to block the divine blood-colored arrow. Bang! The divine blood-colored arrow was too terrifying. The moment it came into contact with Rui Lun, the sky-devouring rat phantom behind him was directly torn apart. Then, the divine blood-colored arrow shot toward Rui Lun like lightning. Rui Lun's eyes were filled with terror. He realized that no matter how he struggled, the divine blood-colored arrow pressed forward, crushing all his struggles into powder and fragments. In the end, the divine blood-colored arrow pierced his chest. A terrifying killing intent engulfed his entire body, frantically crushing his internal organs. Poochie! Rui Lun screamed loudly, and directly shattered into countless pieces of blood. A dim light flashed out from the countless pieces of blood. Upon closer inspection, this dim light looked like Rui Lun, but it was only the size of a palm. This was Rui Lun's soul. At this moment, Rui Lun's soul was panicking. It turned into a dim light, wanting to leave the blood-weeping arena and escape. Unfortunately, mooring was prepared. The moment Rui Lun's soul appeared, he had already rushed to the edge of the blood-weeping arena and intercepted it. Mooring, I admit defeat. As long as you let me go, I'll agree to anything you want. Rui Lun's face was deathly pale as he hurriedly begged for mercy. Mooring, this is the blood-weeping arena. We're having a death match. If you don't die, how can I be considered to have one? Chapter 32-31. The admirer. The weeping blood arena was completely silent. No one had expected that Rueluan, who should have had the absolute upper hand, would be killed on the weeping blood arena, without a complete corpse. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Before anyone could react, the tide of the battle had been turned. Below the arena, Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a look of surprise. She naturally recognized the blood arrow that Mooring had used. Wasn't it Huyi's godly arrow? Their sacred Martin clan also had a Huyi's godly arrow, but it had always been kept in the clan's forbidden area by the patriarch. Although Yuefu also knew that the Fire Elephant clan also had a Huyi's godly arrow, she didn't expect it to be with Mooring. The Fire Elephant clan's patriarch doted on Mooring too much. He was actually willing to give such a precious treasure to Mooring. Zhuoan, who was in the crowd, couldn't help but narrow his eyes, revealing a trace of imperceptible joy. It seemed that Siku hadn't lied to him. The Fire Elephant clan's Huyi's godly arrow was really in Mooring's hands. Zhuoan saw Mooring put away the Huyi's godly arrow and excitedly walked towards Yuefu below the arena. After thinking for a moment, he lifted his foot and walked towards Yuefu. Siku and Yu Lu looked at Zhuoan with puzzled eyes. However, when they saw Zhuoan walking straight towards Yuefu, they were both shocked. They wanted to stop him, but unfortunately, Zhuoan was too fast and had already arrived in front of Yuefu. Who are you? Yuefu couldn't help but frown when she saw Zhuoan suddenly appear in front of her. In Zhuoan's eyes, she saw crazy adoration and a trace of possessiveness that made her unhappy. She had seen this kind of gaze too many times. Among her many suitors, most of them looked at her with this kind of gaze. Even Mooring was no exception. Although she didn't reject suitors, this young man who suddenly appeared in front of her and had a somewhat presumptuous gaze made Yuefu very uncomfortable. Miss Yuefu, you may not know me, but I've admired you for a long time. Your appearance has always been in my heart. I really like you too much. I obtained this Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill by chance. I can see that you've already reached the pinnacle of the God of Creation stage, so this Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill is just right for you. You must accept it. Zhuoan took out a Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill and placed it in front of Yuefu. He had long seen that Yuefu's cultivation had reached a bottleneck, and there was no way she could refuse this Tai Chi spirit gathering pill. Zhuoan's words had caused Yuefu's face to darken. But now, Her beautiful eyes lit up as she smiled and accepted the Tai Chi spirit-gathering divine pill from Zhuowen. You're really considerate. This Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pill is indeed useful to me. I wonder if you have any more on you? Yuana Fu smiled. In Janelf's eyes, Zhuowen had already been labeled as a rich and overbearing suitor. In the Void Heavenly Realm, divine pills were even rarer and more precious than in the Xian Mi Heavenly Realm. This was because the Void Heavenly Realm's God Formation Masters and Pill Masters were far inferior to the Xian Mi Heavenly Realm in terms of both quantity and quality. As a result, the Void Heavenly Realm's divine pills and formations were far more valuable than the Xian Mi Heavenly Realms. Although the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pill was precious, in the Xian Mi Heavenly Realm, Dao Palace level forces would normally have a stockpile of this level of divine pills. However, in the Void Heavenly Realm, only super forces like the 10 great tribes would have divine pills above the creation level. If other races wanted such divine pills, they would have to go to the 10 great tribes to trade for them. Moreover, it was the kind of divine pills that were priceless. After Yuefu had reached the pinnacle of the God of Creation stage, the leader of the sacred Marten race had gone to the Phoenix people to trade for creation-level divine pills similar to this Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pill to help Yuefu break through her bottleneck. Unfortunately, the price the Phoenix people offered was simply too high. The leader of the sacred Marten race had been weighing the price, so he hadn't come to an agreement yet. Now, however, a random suitor she had met was giving her such a precious divine pill right off the bat. How could she not be pleasantly surprised? To her, this was definitely the best present she had ever received. What Yuefu was hoping for now was that this suitor had more Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills on him. After all, one Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pill might not guarantee her 100% success rate. If he had a few more, then it would be much safer. Zhuowen sneered in his heart, but a flattered smile appeared on his face. I do. I have a total of 3. I haven't consumed any of them yet. However, if Miss Yuefu can give me a hug, then I'll give you the other 2 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills. Yuefu's expression stiffened. She was furious that this suitor didn't know what was good for him. How dare he make such a request? He could have just given her the other 2 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills. However, Yuefu truly desired the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills too much. This was the key to her breakthrough. Thinking of this, Yuefu took the initiative to hug Zhuowen. Zhuowen didn't hug Yuefu back. He didn't have any feelings for this woman. The reason he made such a request was naturally to anger Mooring, who had already come down from the Weeping Blood platform. At this moment, Mooring had already walked down the platform. He was about to show off in front of Yuefu when he saw Yuefu taking the initiative to hug an unfamiliar youth. He was instantly enraged. Son of a bitch! Take your filthy hands off me! Moose angrily rushed over and threw Zhuowen to the side. At the same time, Yuefu also let go of Zhuowen. Son of a bitch, how dare you touch Yuefu? I'll kill you today. Mooring was so angry that he lost his mind. The killing intent in his eyes exploded without any concealment as he strode towards Zhuowen. However, Genel stopped the Mooring. Mooring, this person is my friend. You'd better not touch him. As she spoke, she helped Zhuowen up from the ground and said softly, Are you alright? Right, where are the 2 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills you mentioned? Can you give them to me now? Zhuowen sneered in his heart. This Yuefu was really practical. She didn't even say a word of concern and directly asked for the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills. Hee. Miss Yuefu being able to hug me is a blessing that I've cultivated for 3 lifetimes. From now on, you're Zhuowen's woman. This Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pill is my gift to you as a token of love. Zhuowen took out 2 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills, held Yuefu's hand, and handed the pills to her. Yuefu was stunned, and the surrounding people were in an uproar. Previously, Zhuowen and Yuefu's conversation wasn't loud, and the surrounding foreign races didn't hear what the two were talking about. They only saw Zhuowen handing the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills to Yuefu. But now, Zhuowen's voice was loud and clear, saying that Yuefu was his woman, and that the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills were a token of love. At first, The crowd didn't believe it, but Yuefu really did accept the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills. This caused a commotion among the foreign races. Yuefu put away the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills and quickly pulled away from Zhuowen. Her beautiful eyes stared coldly at Zhuowen. "Who said I'm your woman? I'm just taking back the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills that belong to me." Chapter 32-32. Mooring has lost his minders. Soon as Yuefu's words came out, the commotion in the surroundings quieted down significantly, and the foreign race spectators all revealed looks of relief. Only then did Mooring's expression soften a little. He walked over to Yuefu's side and pointed at Zhuowen. "Despicable and shameless fellow, you stole Yuefu's divine pills and even tried to pass them off as your own. You even shamelessly said that Yuefu is your woman. How disgusting. I, Mooring, want to challenge you now. Do you dare to fight me on the Weeping Blood Arena? If you don't, then that means you're a coward who doesn't deserve to pursue Yuefu." Zhuowen looked coldly at Mooring. He could see a hint of greed in Mooring's eyes. He knew very well that it wasn't that Mooring didn't understand what had just happened. He also knew that the Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills belonged to him, Zhuowen. But now, Mooring had denied everything and wanted to challenge him. This guy was probably after his spirit ring. After all, he was already considered a rich and overbearing spendthrift for being able to take out 3 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills at once. Mooring wanted to challenge him on the Weeping Blood Arena. When the time came, he could kill him in one fell swoop and obtain his spirit ring. Yuefu also saw Mooring's intentions, and her expression changed slightly. Just as she was about to speak up to stop him, Zhuowen agreed with a cold smile. Yuefu was flustered and exasperated. She regretted turning hostile immediately after obtaining the 3 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills. Since this rich and overbearing spendthrift was her suitor, she could have used her charm to slowly coax the treasures out of him. But she had been too anxious to cut ties with this person just now. Now, Mooring had beaten her to it. She knew very well that if this person went on the Weeping Blood Arena, he would undoubtedly die. Mooring would definitely take his spirit ring, and she would have no share in it. "Mooring, what do you mean by this? He's my friend, and you actually want to challenge him?" Yuefu said angrily. Fu, that person insulted you just now. I'm standing up for you now." As Malmo spoke, he looked at Zhuowen provocatively and said, "If you don't dare, you don't need to go up to the blood-weeping platform. Kneel before me, crawl under my crotch, and bark like a dog. Then, I'll let you go." Yuefu sighed in relief. It seemed that the mooring was still giving her face. As long as she crawled under the mooring and barked like a dog, it would be fine. Hurry up and do as the moorings say. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive on the blood-weeping platform, Yuefu said to Zhuowen in a commanding tone. Zhuowen didn't pay any attention to Gen Elf. Instead, he walked up to the Weeping Blood platform and looked down at the petrified mooring below. "Didn't you say you wanted to fight on the Weeping Blood platform? Why are you in a daze? Or were you just joking just now?" Mooring came back to his senses and a sinister smile appeared on his face as he quickly stepped onto the blood-weeping platform. Since this foreign youth didn't know what was good for him, it was a good opportunity for him to take care of him and snatch his spirit ring. Since this person could take out 3 Tai Chi spirit-gathering divine pills at once, there had to be other treasures in his spirit ring. He wasn't going to let go of such a good opportunity. Meanwhile, Yuefu's beautiful eyes were filled with anxiety. Why wasn't this guy listening to her? Could it be that he didn't see how Mooring had dealt with Rueluan just now? She could see that Zhuowen's aura was only around the god of creation intermediate stage. The difference between him and Rueluan was like heaven and earth. With his cultivation base, he would be nothing more than cannon fodder. This guy would be courting death if he went up. Meanwhile, the foreign beings around the blood-weeping platform were in an uproar. They didn't think that this foreign youth would actually dare to step onto the blood-weeping platform and battle with Mooring. What was even more inconceivable to them was that this foreign youth's cultivation base seemed to be around the god of creation intermediate stage. Who was Mooring? He was a terrifying being who had just killed an early-stage lord of creation like Rueluan. A mere god of creation intermediate stage was probably not even enough to fill the gaps between Mooring's teeth. Hidden amongst the non-human kind, Siku had a worried look in his eyes. He whispered to Yu Lu, "Brother Yu Lu, wouldn't it be inappropriate for Lord Shuo to go up like this? Mooring has a trump card like Hu Yi's divine arrow." However, Yu Lu wasn't worried at all. "Brother Siku, don't worry. Lord Shuo is much, much more powerful than you think." Siku was a little skeptical upon seeing Yu Lu's confidence. He didn't deny that Zhuoan was much more powerful than his cultivation base, but no matter how powerful he was, could he be more powerful than Rueluan? "Yuefu, don't worry. What's mine is yours. There's no distinction between us." On the blood-weeping platform, Mooring didn't take Zhuoan seriously at all. He didn't even look at Zhuoan. Instead, he turned around and smiled at Yuefu. Yuefu's beautiful eyes flashed. She understood Mooring's meaning. If he really killed Zhuoan, he was willing to share the items in his spirit ring with her. Yuefu's brows relaxed as she thought of this. "Mooring, you're so annoying. There's no distinction between us." "How mushy." Mooring laughed. "Yuefu, don't worry. I've always shared good things with you. After I take care of this ant, I'll..." Before Moose could finish his sentence, his right cheek caved in from the impact. A huge fist landed on Moose's cheek. Bam! Mooring was caught off guard and was knocked to the ground. Before he could even react, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. A foot quickly enlarged in front of his eyes and stomped on his face. Everything happened too quickly. The alien race spectators below the blood-weeping platform were all dumbfounded. Most of their gazes were on Mooring. When they saw that Mooring was talking to Yuefu, they thought that the battle hadn't started yet. However, this alien race youth didn't play by the rules. He attacked without saying a word. "Are you done talking? If you are, then get up and fight." Zhuoan stomped on Mooring's face. His voice was calm, but it was filled with authority. Mooring roared in anger. This guy was too despicable. He hadn't even prepared himself, but he had already attacked. However, Mooring soon realized that something was wrong. He used all his strength, but he couldn't break free from this person's foot. How was this possible? This was a mere god of creation. How could he have such powerful earth energy? He was actually able to suppress his entire body. Boom! A terrifyingly huge fire elephant abruptly burst out from the Mooring body. Powerful airwaves swirled in the air, like an endless wave. Zhuoan's eyes flashed. He was forced back a few steps by the shockwaves. Mooring scrambled to his feet. His right cheek had caved in, making him look like a ferocious ghost. At this moment, Mooring roared in anger. This alien race youth was too despicable. How dare he sneak attack him? "You're good. Today, I want you to die without a burial place. I want you to die a horrible death. This is what you get for angering me." Mooring lost his mind. He immediately retrieved Hu Yi's divine arrow from his spirit ring and began to channel his heavenly Tao energy into it. Terrifying killing intent filled the entire blood-weeping platform. Zhuoan looked at the Hu Yi's divine arrow in Mooring's hand. Die. Chapter 32-33. Tails expose. A terrifying killing intent swept out. Everyone around the weeping blood platform was shocked. All of the spectating beings didn't think that Mao Mo would use a trump card like Hu Yi's divine arrow against a mid-stage god of creation. Faced with such a terrifying divine arrow, how could the foreign race youth possibly survive? Siku's expression changed drastically, and he sighed. "It's over. This Hu Yi's divine arrow is too terrifying. Master Zhuo probably won't be able to block it." However, when Siku saw Yu Lu beside him, he couldn't help but falter. This was because he didn't see any anxiety on Yu Lu's face. Wasn't Yu Lu worried at all? On the blood-weeping platform, the Hu Yi's divine arrow instantly arrived before Zhuoan. It carried boundless killing intent as it continuously pressed down on Zhuoan. Mao Bo laughed arrogantly. He knew that this damned alien youth was about to die to his Hu Yi's divine arrow in the next instant. However, his expression quickly stiffened. This was because he discovered that Zhuoan had actually smashed his fist into the Hu Yi's divine arrow. He had originally thought that this person's fist would definitely be pierced through by the Hu Yi's divine arrow. However, what happened next left him dumbstruck. Zhuowen smashed the Hu Yi's divine arrow to the ground with a single punch. Then, he easily grabbed it in his hand. This person had erased the divine intent he had left on the Hu Yi's divine arrow in front of everyone and very naturally stored it away in his great world. Brother Mao Bo, this divine arrow of yours is quite powerful. Since you want to give it to me, I'll gladly accept it. After putting away the Hu Yi's divine arrow, Zhuowen looked at Mao Bo with a hint of a smile. Mao Bo felt his legs go weak. He knew that he had encountered a tough opponent this time. Not only had the Hu Yi's divine arrow failed to kill this guy, it had been easily blocked by this guy, and he had even taken it for himself. What the hell was wrong with this guy? How could a mere god of creation have the ability to block a Hu Yi's divine arrow with his bare hands? Even the Lord of Creation couldn't do this. Who the hell are you? Do you know that divine arrow is a precious treasure of our fire elephant race? Now, you still have a chance. Obediently hand over the Hu Yi divine arrow to us, and our fire elephant race will not make things difficult for you, Mao Bo said solemnly. Zhuowen looked at the mooring in front of him as though he was looking at an idiot. Hehe, Brother Mobo, you might not have figured out your current situation, right? You and I are fighting on the Weeping Blood Arena. This is a battle of life and death. Since they had stepped onto the blood-weeping platform, they naturally needed to determine life and death. Either you die or I die. Zhuowen's voice was calm, but it was filled with terrifying killing intent. Seems like you really want to offend our fire elephant clan. You have to be clear about the price of offending our fire elephant clan, Mooring said as he retreated, all the muscles in his body tensed up. Bang! When Mao Mo finished speaking, his feet exploded with an ear-piercing sound. He turned into a streak of fiery light and shot into the distance. Unfortunately, Zhuowen was faster than Mao Mo. The instant Mao Mo fled, Zhuowen had already attacked. He blocked in front of Mao Mo and smashed a fist into Mao Mo's chest. He only used 50% of his strength in this punch, but it still caused Mao Mo to vomit blood violently. He screamed and smashed into the blood-weeping platform. His bones were shattered and he remained motionless. Below the platform, the gazes of many foreign races landed on Mao Mo. Seeing that he was already exhaling more than he was inhaling, they knew that Mao Mo would not live for long. You can't kill me. My father is the fire elephant race's patriarch, Liang Ce. If you kill me, the entire fire elephant race will kill you. Mao Mo's eyes were filled with panic. He could already smell the scent of death. As he spat out blood, he spat out those words with difficulty. Even if you were the son of the heavenly king, I would still kill you on the blood-weeping platform, let alone the son of the fire elephant race's patriarch. Zhuowen sneered and slowly landed on the platform. However, when he walked towards Mao Mo, several figures darted out of the void. Waves of fiery aura exploded. Within the fiery aura, there were many huge fire elephant phantoms. Bang! 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 In an instant, 5 figures descended on the blood-weeping platform and stood in front of Mao Mo to protect him. They looked coldly at Zhuowen. The 5 figures exuded a fiery aura. Behind them were 5 huge fire elephant phantoms that looked even more majestic. They were 5 experts from the fire elephant race. Zhuowen was not surprised by their appearance. When he first met Mao Mo, he used the torch dragon's eye to secretly observe the surroundings. He knew that Mao Mo was protected by experts from the fire elephant race. One of the experts from the fire elephant race hurriedly helped Mao Mo up and took out a divine pill for him to consume. Mao Mo, who was on the verge of death, looked much better after consuming the divine pill. Young master, are you feeling better? The middle-aged man with the strongest aura among the 5 hurriedly came to Mao Mo's side and anxiously checked his body. He only relaxed when he found that Mao Mo was fine. Uncle Pu, you have to help me kill this person. Otherwise, I won't be able to vent my anger. Mao Mo's voice was hoarse as he looked at Zhuowen with resentment. Don't worry, young master. This person will definitely die. The enforcement team will be here soon. I've already informed them about the situation here. It's completely reasonable for us to take action. the middle-aged man said softly. Zhuowen looked at the 5 experts from the fire elephant race silently. The middle-aged man supporting Mao Mo had the strongest cultivation. He should be a peak lord of creation. The other 4 were all late-stage lords of creation. You should be experts from the fire elephant race, right? Mao Mo and I are having a life-and-death battle on the blood-weeping platform. What do you mean by interfering? Don't you care about the rules of Phoenix Blood City at all? Zhuowen said coldly. Kip handed the mooring over to his subordinates and stood up. He coldly looked at Zhuowen and said, "We all know the rules, and the one who didn't follow the rules is you. The enforcement team will be here soon, and as the rule-breaker, you will be cleaned up immediately." As soon as he finished speaking, a commotion arose from the crowd below the platform. Afterwards, an enforcement team emerged from the crowd. The leader of the enforcement team was no stranger to Zhuowen. It was Xiu Shi, who had appeared at the entrance of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion last time. Xiu Shi was slightly weaker than Wu Piyu. He was a late-stage Lord of Creation. However, he was one of the leaders of the enforcement team after all. He had a noble status, so Wu Piyu had to be respectful to him. "What's going on?" It's actually you." As soon as Xiu Shi arrived, he asked with an unfriendly expression. However, in the instant his gaze fell upon Zhuowen, he immediately let out a soft cry of surprise. Although Zhuowen had changed his appearance slightly, it wasn't much. Xiu Shi could tell at a glance that the Zhuowen in front of him was 70% similar to the person he was looking for. He was certain that this person was the one who had destroyed the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Zhuowen's gaze was gloomy. He hadn't expected to be noticed by the enforcement team. It seemed that it would be rather difficult for him to escape now. "Brother Xiu Shi, in order to defeat my young master, this person used all sorts of despicable methods and heavily injured my young master. I trust that Brother Xiu Shi definitely won't sit idly by and do nothing, right?" Wu Piyu clasped his hands towards Xiu Shi, who had just arrived. Xiu Shi inwardly cursed Wu Piyu, but he had to give him face. After all, Wu Piyu's cultivation was higher than his, and his status within the fire elephant race was very high as well. He naturally wouldn't be so foolish as to offend someone like this. Chapter 32-34. Slaughter. 2 enforcers leaped onto the blood-weeping platform and grabbed at Zhuowen. Unfortunately, the moment the 2 enforcers approached Zhuowen, they were sent flying by his powerful aura. Zhuowen looked coldly at the shocked Xiu Shi below the platform and said, "This is a grudge between me and the Fire Elephant clan." Moreover, it was the Fire Elephant clan's mooring who suggested the battle on the blood-weeping platform. Now, it's the mooring who violated the rules and interfered in our life-and-death battle. And you, Xiu Shi, as one of the leaders of the enforcers, want to capture me without distinguishing between right and wrong. Isn't that a bit too much? Zhuowen's voice was loud and clear, causing many foreign races below the platform to discuss spiritedly. Many of the foreign races secretly agreed with Zhuowen's words. They had stayed in Phoenix Blood City for much longer than Zhuowen, so they naturally knew that the enforcers were cowards. However, no one would speak up for Zhuowen. They all knew very well that there was only one outcome for offending enforcers, and that was to be locked up in the dungeon by enforcers and never see the light of day again. "Aya, it's over." Lord Shui even provoked the enforcers. The Fire Elephant clan and the enforcers are not to be trifled with. Siku's expression changed slightly. He was anxious and wanted to retreat. Yu Lu frowned slightly. He also did not expect that things would actually turn out like this. "Yu Lu, Siku, return to the Bloodshed Tea House first. I will come back to find you soon." Just as Yu Lu and Siku were at their wits' end, Zhuowen's voice transmission sounded in their minds. The 2 of them looked at each other and glanced at Zhuowen on the blood-weeping platform before leaving quietly. Xiu Shi's expression was ugly. He stared coldly at Zhuowen and said, "Nonsense, full of nonsense. Now you are simply audacious. You even dare to hit my enforcers. You don't have any respect for the enforcers at all." As he spoke, Xiu Shi led a team of enforcers and surrounded the blood-weeping platform. Each of them took out their divine weapons and a powerful aura was directed at Zhuowen. As for the 5 Fire Elephant clan experts on the blood-weeping platform, under Kip's lead, they surrounded Zhuoan in 5 different directions. Hehe, this guy is dead for sure. Unfortunately, I'm not going to kill him with my own hands. Siku stood at the edge of the blood-weeping platform and looked coldly at Zhuoan. Below the platform, Yuefu pulled the servant girl beside her and hurriedly withdrew a distance. Miss, this guy is dead for sure. Looks Miss Yuefu, the servant whispered. Yuefu's Yuefu. Yuefu's fuse editor. Fel yu Yuefu Shiyu Shafusha Yu was Feffel fuse few not erlaws Fion Fen use Fen Fe. But now that the enforcers had interfered, she basically had nothing to do. When the time came, all the benefits would be taken away by the enforcers. After all, the enforcers were the rules in Phoenix Blood City. Even if the patriarch of the Sacred Martin clan entered Phoenix Blood City, he wouldn't dare to break the rules here. Go. With GPU's order, he led the 4 Fire Elephant clan experts and instantly swept towards Zhuowen. Powerful waves of fire swept up, forming 5 huge phantoms of fire elephants in the void. They all fell towards Zhuowen, like 5 huge volcanoes crashing down, with great momentum. Let's go. Xiosha ordered and led a team of enforcers to attack Zhuowen. He could see that Kip and the other 4 were in a hurry to kill this Fen Yu. He was afraid that this Fen Yu had something good on him that Kip coveted. Xiosha naturally wasn't willing to fall behind. If he was strong enough to obtain this Fen Yu's, with his status as the leader of the enforcers, Kip wouldn't dare to ask him for it. But if this Fen Yu's, Xiosha didn't have the right to ask Kip to hand it over. After all, Kip's status in the Fire Elephant clan wasn't low and he didn't have the right to do so. Powerful ripples from the battle erupted. Many of the Fen Yu were shocked and quickly distanced themselves from the Weeping Blood Arena. Yuefu Mo, who was standing at the edge of the Weeping Blood Arena, didn't even have time to react before the energy ripples hit her in the chest. She spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out, smashing into the ground 100 meters away. What a powerful aura. That Fen Yu is dead for sure. The moment this Fen Yu offended the enforcers, his fate was already sealed. As the Fen Yu's, the Fen Yu's Fen Yu was definitely a monstrous genius-level existence. But now, such a genius was about to be stained with blood on the Weeping Blood Arena by Yu's Fen Yu. Zhuowen stood quietly in the middle of the Weeping Blood Arena. His eyelids were lowered and he didn't move. The enforcers led by the 5 Fire Elephant clan elites and Xiosha were getting closer and closer. Terrifying energy ripples spread into the Weeping Blood Arena, causing it to shake violently. Die. A late-stage creation realm elite from the Fire Elephant clan was the first to arrive in front of Zhuowen. He punched out with his right fist and a wave of fire swept out. The Fire Elephant shadow behind him fell from the sky and a terrifying aura swept out like a tidal wave. Zhuowen slowly raised his head and looked indifferently at the elite from the Fire Elephant clan. He stomped his right foot and the space-time around him started to distort. Then, purple streams of water swept out from the distorted space-time cracks. These purple streams of water shuttled through the distorted space-time unobstructed. Puff, puff, puff. The purple streams of water were like purple poisonous snakes. They swept out and instantly pierced through the Fire Elephant shadow. When the Fire Elephant shadow was destroyed, the purple streams of water swept out and pierced through the elite from the Fire Elephant clan. In the blink of an eye, the elite from the Fire Elephant clan exploded into a bloody mist. Even his divine soul wasn't spared. After the purple streams of water pierced through the elite from the Fire Elephant clan, they gathered together and formed a purple river. They swept out and rushed towards the second elite from the Fire Elephant clan. Bang! 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 The purple river was like a rainbow piercing through the sun. It passed through the second, third, and fourth elites from the Fire Elephant clan without any obstruction. The remaining 3 elites from the Fire Elephant clan exploded into bloody mist the moment they were pierced by the purple river. Their divine souls were also destroyed into nothingness. Fire cloud explosion. Seeing 4 of his subordinates killed in an instant, Jip Pu was shocked and furious. He used his strongest move, fire cloud explosion. Raging waves of fire swept out like a tidal wave. Each wave was higher than the previous one. It was like an endless cloud of fire. These fire clouds spread out and began to explode violently, blocking the purple river that was drilling in front of them. Jip Pu's fire cloud explosion was indeed powerful and terrifying. However, the purple river was even more terrifying. It controlled the power of the entire spacetime. The purple river suddenly rolled, and the terrifying cloud of fire that was constantly exploding was sucked into the depths of spacetime. The purple river directly drowned Jip Pu. Bang! Jip Pu's corpse fell from the sky onto the blood-weeping platform. There was no aura left. He was completely dead. Xiu, who was one step late, was shocked when he saw the 5 Fire Elephant Clan's elites were killed in an instant. He immediately retreated and fled without thinking. Unfortunately, the moment Zhuowen used the purple river, his right foot stepped on the air and appeared in front of Xiu. "You're courting death." Xiu saw that it was Zhuowen who came to stop him and not the strange purple river. His eyes were ferocious. He suddenly punched out, smashing towards Zhuowen's face. Chapter 32-35. Destroying the Weeping Blood Platform R. Xiu screamed at the sky. Zhuowen's fist energy was too terrifying. After shattering his right fist, Zhuowen's fist landed on his chest. The terrifying energy exploded, and Xiu's right chest was pierced through. Blood spurted out. Plop! Xiu crashed heavily onto the Weeping Blood platform, twitching continuously. His eyes were filled with regret. He never imagined that the young man in front of him would be so terrifying. If he had known, he definitely wouldn't have stood up. After Xiu was severely injured, the rest of the enforcers were frightened and began to flee. Unfortunately, with a wave of Zhuowen's right hand, the purple river formed from the fate spacetime annihilation swept out like a purple snake. The fleeing enforcers were all swept up by the purple river and turned into lifeless corpses. After the enforcers were all killed, Zhuowen waved his sleeve, and the purple river disappeared into the spacetime distortion. When Zhuowen landed on the Weeping Blood platform, all the foreign races around him were petrified. They were dumbfounded. What was going on? 5 Fire Elephant Clan experts and the enforcers led by Xiu worked together, but they were all wiped out in the end. Moreover, Fire Elephant Clan's Jip Pu and the enforcers Xiu were both peak creation realm experts. In Phoenix Blood City, they were well-known top-notch experts. There was no lack of creation realm experts among the subordinates they brought. But now, Fire Elephant Clan's expert Jip Pu was killed, and the enforcers' leader Xiu was severely injured. No one knew if he was dead or alive, and the rest were all killed on the Weeping Blood platform. All eyes were on the Weeping Blood platform, and on the tall and straight figure that was like a god or a demon. This person was simply too terrifying. He had fought against so many masters of creation alone and had actually killed all of them. What kind of battle prowess did he have to possess to accomplish this? Bastard, how dare you cause such a ruckus in Phoenix Blood City? Our enforcers won't let you off. Xiu raised his head with great difficulty and roared at Zhuowen with all his might, almost shouting himself hoarse. Unfortunately, Xiu was only halfway through his roar when a foot stomped heavily on his chest. Xiu's roar immediately turned into dry coughs. He spat out blood and his face was deathly pale. "Xiu, let me tell you. My character has always been that if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. The rules of Phoenix Blood City that you mentioned, I have always abided by them. The ones who didn't abide by them are you. Since you are the law enforcers of Phoenix Blood City, yet you also disregard the rules, or even ignore the rules, then what's the point of establishing this blood-weeping platform? Today, I'm going to destroy this blood-weeping platform. You'll be buried with it." As Zhuowen spoke, he stomped on the ground with his right foot. This stomp carried a tremendous force, and the power of the Pangu sacred body poured out in torrents. Rumble. A powerful force smashed into Xiu's chest. Xiu didn't even have the chance to scream before he was ruthlessly kicked into the crack of the blood-weeping platform. As for the towering blood-weeping platform, it crumbled under Zhuowen's tremendous force, turning into blood-red powder. The blood-weeping platform was destroyed. After destroying the blood-weeping platform, Zhuowen slowly walked out and said in a clear voice, "Mao She, did I say you could leave?" His voice rang in everyone's ears like a great bell. Only then did they realize that Mao She, who was not far away, was sneakily escaping from this place. Now that Zhuowen had exposed him, Mao She didn't even think about it. He rushed out and began to madly escape. Zhuowen sneered. With a wave of his sleeve, a blood sword swept out. It cut through the void and caught up with Mao She in an instant. Mao She screamed. The blood-immortal sword pierced through him and he exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Among the 3 divine swords Zhuowen had, the Thunderfire sword was the highest level. It was already at the early stage of the Heaven Ascension realm. Its strength was terrifying. The blood-immortal sword and the death sacrifice sword had both reached the peak of the creation realm. In a one-on-one fight, they could fight against a peak creation realm alien. Mao She was only at the peak of the creator realm. Naturally, he was no match for the blood-immortal sword. Yuefu, who was standing in the crowd, couldn't help but open her mouth in shock. Where did this Zhuowen come from? How could his strength be so terrifying? Could it be that this person was a creator realm expert? "My lady, your suitor is so powerful. I'm afraid that Lord Feng Bumming of the Phoenix people is only at this level," a servant girl beside Yuefu whispered in surprise. Yuefu scolded, "Who are you to criticize Bumming? Although this person's strength is strange and powerful, compared to Bumming, he is still far from being able to compare. You should know that although Bumming hasn't reached the Heaven Ascension realm yet, when he was half a step away from the Heaven Ascension realm, he had the strength to kill an early-stage Heaven Ascension realm expert. If Bumming was here, he would only need one move to deal with these guys. He wouldn't have to go through so much trouble like this person." The servant girl nodded repeatedly and said, "My lady, I know my mistake. This person really can't compare to Lord Feng Bumming." Yuefu was very satisfied with the servant girl's attitude. Then, her beautiful eyes fell on Zhuowen. Her eyes flashed as she walked towards Zhuowen. After dealing with Mao She, Zhuowen planned to go directly to the Green Blood Tea House. The law enforcement team and the people of the Fire Elephant clan had been destroyed by him. Now, he wanted to go to the Green Blood Tea House as soon as possible and meet up with Yu Lu and Siku. Then, he would leave Phoenix Blood City with the 2 of them. This time, he had entered Phoenix Blood City mainly to gather information. To be able to obtain a Huyi divine arrow from Mao She was already a pleasant surprise for him. Now that he had gathered information, he had a plan for the future. He didn't want to clash with the experts of Phoenix Blood City. After all, he had heard from Siku that the 3 commanders of the law enforcement team were all Heaven Ascension realm experts. If the matter of the Weeping Blood platform were to spread, the 3 commanders of the law enforcement team would probably be mobilized. At that time, if the Great Array in Phoenix Blood City was to be activated, it would be difficult for Zhuowen to leave Phoenix Blood City. Just as Zhuowen was about to leave, a fragrant wind blew over. Then, he saw Yuefu leisurely walking over with a sweet smile. "You're very powerful. I still don't know your name." Yuefu smiled as her beautiful eyes sized up Zhuowen. Her face was radiant. "I'm Zhuowen. Miss Yuefu, if there's a chance in the future, I will visit you at the Sacred Martin clan. Now, I have urgent matters to attend to, so I have to leave first." After saying that, Zhuowen hurriedly left without even looking at Yuefu. Yuefu's face stiffened as she watched Zhuowen leave in a hurry. Her beautiful face didn't look too good. "My lady, this person must be afraid and is planning to escape from Phoenix Blood City. Should we go and snitch on them?" The maidservant approached and asked. "That guy doesn't know what's good for him. I know that this person lives in the Green Blood Tea House. He has 2 accomplices. Since those 2 accomplices aren't here, I'm afraid they are still in the Green Blood Tea House. I'll inform the owner of the Green Blood Tea House, Green Blood Mulberry. Green Blood Mulberry has a good relationship with the 3 commanders of the law enforcement team. If he knows that this person killed someone from the law enforcement team, I'm afraid he will be happy to find a way to keep him." Chapter 32-36. Scarlet Blood Mulberry. When Zhuowen returned to the Scarlet Blood Tea House, he immediately noticed that something was wrong. Because he discovered that the Scarlet Blood Tea House was already closed, and there was a sign on the door that said it was closed for the day. Zhuowen frowned slightly and sent a message to Yu Lu and Sai Ku, but after a while, there was no reply. Suddenly, a fair and jade-like hand grabbed Zhuowen's right arm and brought him towards an alley on the street. Zhuowen originally wanted to break free, but after seeing this beautiful figure, he immediately resisted the urge to do so. After entering the alley, Zhuowen looked at the beautiful figure in front of him and said, "Miss Humai, why is the Scarlet Blood Tea House closed for the day?" The beautiful figure who pulled Zhuowen into the alley was the White Fox tribe beauty who served him when he first came to the Scarlet Blood Tea House. Her name was Humai. Humai's face was filled with anxiety, and she said in a deep voice, "Guest, leave quickly, don't go near the Scarlet Blood Tea House, it's best to leave Phoenix Blood City." "Miss Humai, what happened at the Scarlet Blood Tea House? Also, didn't my two friends return to the Scarlet Blood Tea House earlier? I can't contact them now. Did something happen to them?" Zhuowen asked with a solemn expression. Humai's beautiful eyes flickered, and she sighed softly. "The Scarlet Blood Tea House's Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry took action and captured your two friends. It's said that because you violated Phoenix Blood City's rules, he detained your two friends. However, your two friends didn't betray you, so Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry doesn't know your appearance. Take this opportunity to escape. Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry is a sky-piercing expert. You are not his match." Zhuowen's eyes flashed with anger. He didn't know this Scarlet Blood Mulberry at all, and he had no enmity with him, but this Scarlet Blood Mulberry actually interfered in his affairs. However, Zhuowen soon realized that something was wrong. How did this Scarlet Blood Mulberry get the news so quickly? It seems that someone snitched. Zhuowen thought in his heart. "Hehe, Humai, you little bitch. You're siding with an outsider. Master Bai Shuesang is right. He can see that you, little slut, are in love. He definitely has a good impression of this Zhuowen. When that Zhuowen comes back, you little bitch will definitely come out and advise that Zhuowen." A cold voice sounded, and from the depths of the alley, a foreign youth slowly walked out. This alien youth was the same as Humai. He also had a white fox tail, so he should be from the white fox race. "Hu Ling, are you following me?" Humai's pretty face changed slightly, and her voice was filled with panic. The young man called Hu Ling coldly glanced at Humai. Soon after, he looked at Zhuowen and said indifferently, "You must be Zhuowen. Our Blue Blood Mulberry has invited you, and he wants you to scram over right now." Hu Ling's eyes were filled with arrogance. Although he was only an early-stage god of creation, his expression was extremely arrogant. Zhuowen slapped Hu Ling to the ground, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and broken teeth. Hu Ling's eyes were filled with shock and fury. Just as he was about to berate Zhuowen, Zhuowen stomped him to the ground, almost causing him to faint. "Where are my two friends right now? If you don't speak, you can die right now." Zhuowen's eyes were like torches, and his voice was filled with killing intent. Hu Ling could naturally sense the killing intent in Zhuowen's voice, and his entire body trembled. He had always thought that this Zhuowen was just a god of creation like him, and he was one of the few god of creation powerhouses in the Green Blood Tea House. However, never would he have thought that this Zhuowen would be so powerful. He was completely powerless against this person. "Don't kill me, I'll take you to Master Bai Shuesang," Hu Ling hurriedly said. He was really afraid that Zhuowen would kill him in a moment of impulse. If that happened, his death would be too unjust. Zhuowen raised his foot, and Hu Ling hurriedly got up. This time, Hu Ling was a lot more well-behaved, leading the way in front of Zhuowen respectfully. Humai wanted to speak but stopped. She originally wanted to persuade Zhuowen to flee, but now Zhuowen was delivering himself to their doorstep. Wasn't this seeking his own death? Zhuowen patted Humai's shoulder and said with a smile, "Miss Humai, don't worry. In this Phoenix Blood City, there's probably no one who can do anything to me." Humai forced a smile. In her view, this sentence of Zhuowen's was just boasting. She did not take it to heart at all. While leading the way, Hu Ling sneered coldly in his heart. This Zhuowen really dared to brag, to actually say that no one in Phoenix Blood City could do anything to him. Who gave him the confidence? Hu Ling brought Zhuowen to the Green Blood Tea House. Although the Green Blood Tea House's main entrance was closed, Hu Ling did not go to the main entrance. Instead, he circled to the back of the Green Blood Tea House and opened a small door. What surprised Zhuowen was that behind this small door was a passageway leading down. There was actually an underground chamber under the Green Blood Tea House. This passageway was not deep. In less than half an incense stick's time, they already reached the end. Only then did Zhuowen discover that there was actually a very large underground chamber below. Inside was very spacious. Furthermore, what surprised Zhuowen was that this underground chamber was filled with dense heavenly Tao energy. It was more than 10 times denser than the Green Blood Tea House's 10th level. Cultivating in this underground chamber had much better effects than in the Green Blood Tea House's 10th level. Sir, this underground chamber is Lord Green Blood Mulberry's cultivation area. Normally, Lord Green Blood Mulberry would cultivate in seclusion here. Humai said softly to Zhuowen. Miss Humai, don't call me sir in the future. Just call me by my name. This time, thank you for taking the risk to inform me, Zhuowen said with a smile. Humai hesitated for a moment and said sadly, Zhuowen, speaking of which, this time, it was also my fault. If I had not hurriedly pulled you to the entrance of the alley, Hu Ling would not have confirmed your identity. It's a good thing that Hu Ling recognized me. Otherwise, without someone to lead the way, I wouldn't have been able to find Green Blood Mulberry to settle the score. Zhuowen said with a smile. What an arrogant fellow. Death is at hand, and he still wants to settle the score with me. Just as Zhuowen's words fell, a very cold voice resounded in this spacious underground chamber. Zhuowen turned his head to look and discovered that in the depths of the underground chamber, there was a strange raceman who was as thin as a match slowly walking out of a dark place. This strange raceman's skin was a strange green color. His tongue was very long, like the tongue of a venomous snake. Especially this person's eyes, which actually had double pupils, looked extremely strange and mysterious. Zhuowen knew that this green-skinned man in front of him should be the owner of the Green Blood Tea House, Green Blood Mulberry. Where are my two friends? Zhuowen asked indifferently. Green Blood Mulberry sized up Zhuowen and laughed. Oh, so you're just from the Devouring clan. Moreover, your cultivation base is only at the Creator realm. I really don't know how you killed Xiosha. Then, Green Blood Mulberry clapped his hands. Instantly, 2 giant green snakes dashed out of the darkness. These 2 green snakes had 2 figures tied to their tails. Zhuowen looked at them and saw that they were Yu Lu and Sai Ku. Yu Lu and Sai Ku's faces were green and green. Their lips were purple, and they were delirious. Shi Yang knew that these 2 had been poisoned. Green Blood Mulberry, let my 2 friends go and let us leave. Today, I will spare your life and allow your Green Blood Tea House to continue operating in Phoenix Blood City. Zhuowen suppressed the anger in his eyes and gave Green Blood Mulberry the last ultimatum. Chapter 32-37 The Might of the Thunder Fire Sword. You'll find out soon enough whether I'm worthy or not. Zhuowen stepped forward, his aura growing stronger and stronger. He could sense that Mulberry was strong, so he planned to use the power of the Pangu sacred body to get rid of him as soon as possible. When Zhuowen fully released the aura of the Pangu sacred body, the entire basement was filled with a terrifying and shocking pressure. Sang Bai Shui, who had been looking at Zhuowen with a mocking expression, felt the terrifying aura coming from Zhuowen, and his expression changed slightly. He didn't expect Zhuowen to be able to release such a terrifying aura. It didn't seem like the aura of a creator. Hu Ling, who came with Zhuowen, was even more shocked. He quickly moved away from Zhuowen and kept a distance from Zhuowen. The pressure from Zhuowen's aura was too terrifying for him. Humai also moved away from Zhuowen, watching him and Mulberry nervously. Zhuowen's strength was indeed strong, but Humai still didn't think that Zhuowen was a match for Mulberry. After all, the latter was a veteran master of Phoenix Blood City. Interesting. Your strength is much greater than the cultivation you displayed, but that's all. Today, you will die at the hands of me, Blue Blood Mulberry. Mulberry smiled coldly. He stomped his right foot and shot out like an arrow. His speed was extremely fast. Green shadows flickered in the air, making it impossible for anyone to catch him. Whoosh! Mulberry appeared behind Zhuowen in an instant and stretched out his right hand. At this moment, long, thin, and sharp claws appeared on his right hand, and he abruptly extended them towards Zhuowen's back. He was as silent as a ghost. Unfortunately, the blue blood Mulberry's attack missed, because he discovered that his right claw had only struck an afterimage. In other words, Zhuowen had dodged it at that moment. Mulberry's eyelids twitched. He felt a strong sense of danger in his heart. A thunderous sound came from the back of his head. Bai Shuasang let out a loud cry and shifted his body to the side. The attack that was aimed at the back of his head smashed into his back, avoiding his vitals. Mulberry spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground in a sorry state. However, Mulberry reacted quickly. The moment he fell to the ground, he rolled away like a wild donkey and dodged the next attack. The moment blue blood Mulberry rolled away, a huge crater appeared on the ground where he had just fallen. Within the crater, Zhuowen's body was shining with a crystalline light. He slowly stood up and looked at the blue blood Mulberry with a mocking gaze. "I won't interfere with your business. I'll let your friend go now. Let's not interfere with each other from now on." Mulberry quickly retreated to the side. "Not the two, Mulberry." He looked at Zhuowen. Zhuowen was really too strange. Mulberry was originally very good at speed, but this guy's speed was even more terrifying than his, and his strength was also greater. How was he supposed to fight? Begging for mercy now? It's too late. Zhuowen's indifferent voice slowly rang out as he once again attacked the blue blood Mulberry. "If you don't stop now, your two friends will die," Mulberry said coldly. Unfortunately, Zhuowen was not affected by blue blood Mulberry's words at all. He continued to rush towards blue blood Mulberry without any intention of stopping. "Well then, your two friends are dead meat." Blue blood Mulberry's eyes were filled with killing intent. He whistled and quickly retreated into the darkness. Upon receiving blue blood Mulberry's order, the two green snakes coiled around Yu Lu and Sai Ku's tails roared and opened their bloody mouths, swallowing the two of them. If Siku and Yu Lu were swallowed by the snakes, they would undoubtedly die. Roar. But soon, the two green snakes screamed. Two sword lights swept out from the shadows and suddenly fell, piercing the heads of the two green snakes and nailing them to the ground. The sword lights converged, revealing two divine swords with different splendor. One was bloody, and the other was hazy. They were the Blood Immortal Sword and the Sacrificial Death Sword. At the same time, in the darkness behind the two green snakes, lightning and fire suddenly exploded, illuminating the darkness extremely brightly. Mulberry, who had been hiding in the shadows, immediately had nowhere to hide. A divine sword intertwined with lightning and fire rushed towards Mulberry. The sword lights contained the power of lightning and fire, possessing unparalleled power that could shake heaven and earth. "You're just a piece of trash at the early stage of the sky-reaching Master Realm. Today, this Dragon Lord will cut off your dog head." The Thunderfire sword's momentum was like a rainbow. Wrapped in lightning and fire energy, it blasted towards Mulberry. Mulberry used all his strength. His body exploded with green light energy accompanied by a violent poisonous gas, trying to block the Thunderfire sword. But the Thunderfire sword was too terrifying. All of Mulberry's attacks were crushed by the Thunderfire sword. Numerous walls forged from lightning and fire stood in the Bloodjade Mulberry tree, and they completely sealed off the latter's path of retreat. Zhuowen silently looked at the blue blood Mulberry, who was being suppressed by the Thunderfire sword. He knew that Mulberry would lose without a doubt. Looks like Xiao Hei really broke through after absorbing the Shenyang God-congealed stone, Zhuowen muttered to himself. He knew that Xiao Hei really broke through the bottleneck after absorbing the Shenyang God-congealed stone, advancing from the early stage of the sky-reaching Master Realm to the middle stage. In terms of one-on-one combat ability, Xiao Hei's strength had already surpassed most of the early stage sky-reaching masters. Although Mulberry's cultivation was at the early stage of the sky-reaching Master Realm, his strength could only be considered average. There was no way he could be Xiao Hei's match. Ah! With a shrill cry, the blue blood Mulberry was enveloped by the endless sword intent of lightning and fire. In the end, he was unable to withstand so many terrifying sword intents of lightning and fire. The sword intense pierced through his body, causing him to explode into a bloody mist. A green light shot out from the blood mist. Zhuo Wen's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He reached out with his right hand and grabbed the green light in his hand. This green light was Mulberry's shrunken form. It was Mulberry's soul. Mulberry's eyes were filled with fear. His soul knelt down and begged for mercy. Lord Zhuowen, please spare my life. I was wrong. I was blind and didn't know that you were so powerful. Please let me live. I'm willing to give you everything I have. I'll give you the entire green blood tea house. I only beg you to let me live. Zhuowen's eyes were cold as he said, Mulberry, I gave you a chance, but you didn't grasp it. Now, you have no more chances. Go in peace. After saying that, Zhuowen clenched his right hand, and a powerful force erupted. Mulberry's soul let out a shrill scream as it was completely annihilated. Hu Ling and Hu Mai were rooted to the spot as they stared at Zhuowen in disbelief. Zhuowen didn't even make a move. He only used the divine sword, yet he was able to kill a sky-reaching master like Mulberry. This guy was too terrifying. After destroying the soul of the blue blood Mulberry, Zhuowen arrived at the tails of the two green snakes. He took down Sai Ku and Yu Lu and examined them. Zhuowen took out 2 antidote pills and fed them to them. Soon, the green color on their faces receded, and they slowly woke up. Hey! Lord Zhuo, why are you here? We were captured by Mulberry, the master of the green blood tea house. Could it be that you were captured by him too? Sai Ku opened his eyes and asked with a puzzled expression. I'm here to save you. I've already dealt with Mulberry. If you're feeling better, leave with me now, Zhuowen said. Chapter 32-38. Shentuji Lord Zhuo, you've dealt with the scarlet blood Mulberry? He's an expert at the initial stage of the Master of Heaven Ascension. Yu Lu couldn't believe it and couldn't help but ask again. Yes. The scarlet blood Mulberry has been dealt with. Let's leave Phoenix Blood City first. I've eliminated a law enforcement team. I'm afraid the 3 commanders of the law enforcement team will soon know. At that time, Phoenix Blood City may be sealed off. We must leave as soon as possible, Zhuowen said in a deep voice. Sai Ku and Yu Lu knew the severity of the matter. They packed up and left with Zhuowen. Before leaving, Zhuowen looked at Hu Mai and said, Miss Hu Mai, do you want to leave with us? Hu Mai shook her head and said, I've lived in Phoenix Blood City for 1,000 years. I've long treated this place as my home. I don't plan to leave. Since that's the case, I won't force you. Zhuowen nodded. He reached out with his right hand and grabbed Hu Ling, who was standing at the side. His right hand formed a sword and pointed at Hu Ling's forehead. He extracted a strand of spirit and sent it into Hu Mai's forehead. A strand of this person's spirit is in your hands. He'll be your servant in the future. If you encounter any danger, you can ask this person to help you. If he doesn't listen to you, you just have to use your divine sense and his soul will be destroyed, Zhuowen said. Zhuowen, thank you. Hu Mai smiled sweetly. Zhuowen nodded and left the Scarlet Blood Tea House with Sai Ku and Yu Lu. Walking out of the basement, Zhuowen immediately took out the space-time roulette. He took Sai Ku and Yu Lu and turned into a ray of light that flew into the distance. However, the moment he flew out, he immediately stopped at the edge of Phoenix Blood City's city wall. Because he was blocked by the array barrier on the surface of Phoenix Blood City's city wall. It's just a creation-grade defensive formation. Zhuowen waved his sleeve and took out beast bone formation discs. He formed a seal with both hands. In less than 3 breaths, the formation barrier in front of Zhuowen collapsed. You must be Zhuowen. How dare you kill a member of my law enforcement team? In the instant that Zhuowen broke through the formation, a foreign man in armor appeared in front of Zhuowen, blocking his path. Lord Zhuo, this person is one of the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. His name is Shentuji, and he's from the Ashwolf clan. He's an early-stage sky-piercing master expert recruited by the Phoenix people. He's in charge of Phoenix Blood City, Siku said in a low voice. Zhuowen nodded. Regarding the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City, Siku had introduced them to him before. He also knew that the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City were not Phoenix People's clansmen. They were recruited by the Phoenix People with a large sum of money to stay in Phoenix Blood City. As for the powerhouses of the Phoenix People, they were basically stationed within the Phoenix People's territory to protect their ancestral land. They would not leave the Phoenix People easily. Furthermore, Zhuowen had used the Torch Dragon's eye to observe the surroundings and discovered that the only sky-piercing master's aura was Shintuji. This also meant that the other 2 commanders of Phoenix Blood City had not appeared. It seemed like the 3 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City did not place him in their eyes. If the 3 great commanders attacked together, Zhuowen would be a little troublesome. However, only one of them had appeared. To Zhuowen, it was not much of a problem. Zhuowen, if you obediently surrender now, I can guarantee you a quick and painless death. Otherwise, you won't have an easy death. Shintuji crossed his arms and looked at Zhuowen with a mocking gaze. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. Zhuowen could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Shintuji. He took a step forward and his body exploded with a crystalline light. He instantly threw a punch at Shintuji. Shintuji's face was gloomy. He did not expect Zhuowen to attack without saying anything. You're courting death. Shintuji coldly snorted and also threw a punch. Although Shintuji had a disdainful look, he did not hold back in the slightest when he threw a punch. He gathered the strength of an early-stage sky-piercing master into this punch. Rumble. The 2 fists collided and terrifying energy ripples exploded, turning into a ring-shaped shock wave that swept out in all directions. Zhuowen groaned and his body swayed. However, he quickly stabilized himself. On the other hand, Shintuji directly spat out a mouthful of blood. His right fist was shattered and he retreated continuously. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Just as Shintuji retreated in shock, a bolt of lightning and fire cut through the void. The moment Shintuji was absent-minded, it pierced through the back of his head. The terrifying lightning and fire energy swept through Shintuji's body like an electric current and suddenly exploded. Shintuji's soul did not even have the chance to escape. It was completely pulverized by the lightning and fire energy. The moment he killed Shintuji, Zhuowen put away the lightning and fire sword and drove the space-time roulette to instantly disappear from Phoenix Blood City. Inside Phoenix Blood City, countless outsiders who were watching this battle were all stunned on the spot. Shintuji, one of the 3 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City, had actually been killed by an unknown foreign race youth in one move. What exactly was going on? The entire Phoenix Blood City was in an uproar. What had happened in the sky above Phoenix Blood City was really too strange. It was too unbelievable. It was like an illusion. Not long after Shintuji was killed, several figures rushed out of Phoenix Blood City and stopped in the sky above where Shintuji had been killed. There, a bloody mist was still drifting in the air and had yet to completely disperse. There were a total of 3 figures. Zhuowen was very familiar with one of them. It was the pride of the Sacred Martin clan, Uefu. The other 2 wore armor similar to Shintuji's. These 2 were clearly the other 2 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City. Shintuji has already fallen. Among the 3, the black-faced man had a grave expression. He could not help but look at Uefu and say, "Miss Uefu, what exactly is going on? Didn't you say that Zhuowen's strength is definitely below the early Skyreach Master level? How do you explain this now?" Shintuji chased after him for only 15 minutes. He did not even have the chance to stop Zhuowen before he was killed. Is this the strength you said below the early Skyreach Master level? The black-faced man's voice became more and more unfriendly as he looked coldly at Uefu. If not for the fact that the information Uefu provided was wrong, they would not have been so careless as to only let Shintuji intercept Zhuowen. Instead, the 3 of them would have attacked together to stop Zhuowen. Uefu's pretty face was pale as she trembled and said, "Commanders, I did not know that Zhuowen was so powerful. Although he killed the experts of the Fire Elephant race before, they were all below the level of a Skyreach Master. I thought he was just a half-step Skyreach Master. I did not expect. Uefu, because of your mistake, our Phoenix Blood City has lost a commander. I will report this matter to the Phoenix people." When the time comes, your sacred Marten race's patriarch will have to make a trip to the Phoenix people, the black-faced commander said coldly. Yuefu was in a daze. She knew that she had done a good deed this time. Not only did she not get any benefits, but she had also gotten into big trouble. On the spacetime wheel, Yu Lu and Sai Ku looked at Zhuowen's back in awe. They had never imagined that Zhuowen would be able to deal with an early Heavenspan master as easily as killing a chicken. That didn't make any sense. They had not seen Zhuowen's battle with Blue Blood Mulberry because they had been poisoned and unconscious. Now that they saw it with their own eyes, they were truly shocked. Zhuowen's gaze was extremely calm. He knew very well that he had only been able to kill Shen Tuji because of Xiao Hei's help. Chapter 32-39. To give secret information, Zhuowen stopped in a canyon tens of thousands of miles away from Phoenix Blood City. He carved out a cave and set up a concealment array outside. With his current level of array formation skills, not many people would be able to see through the concealment array formation he set up. Lord Zhuo, you killed Shen Tuji of Phoenix Blood City. You've caused a huge disaster. The Phoenix people will soon find out. When the time comes, the entire Phoenix people's territory will put you on the wanted list, Siku said with a pale face. Zhuowen didn't care. His current battle prowess was very strong. If he didn't use his trump card, he could suppress an early sky-reaching master. If he used his trump card, he could fight an intermediate sky-reaching master. According to Zhuowen's knowledge, the Phoenix people's great elder Mu Yu's cultivation should be at the peak of the mid-stage Tongtian master, not the late-stage Tongtian master. However, the bloodline of the Phoenix people was too terrifying. The Phoenix people's second great elder was only at the peak of the early-stage Tongtian master, but he could fight against 3 Tongtian masters, including Senki Yin, at the same time. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the bloodline of the Phoenix people was. Moreover, the second great elder's bloodline could only be considered above average. If the Phoenix people's Holy Maiden's 99 Phoenix body matured, she would be even more terrifying. Fortunately, Zhuowen had extracted the 99 Phoenix body from the Phoenix people's Holy Maiden. As long as he could find Mu Chenxue, he could transplant the bloodline back to her. Siku could see that Zhuowen didn't care. He sighed and continued, Lord Zhuo, you probably don't know how strong the Phoenix people are, right? According to my estimates, the Phoenix people have 5 Tongtian masters. There are 3 great elders and 2 great guardians. The Phoenix people have dozens of powerful subordinate tribes. Among them, there are 8 great elders who are also Tongtian masters. As long as the Phoenix people are ruthless and mobilize these forces, I'm afraid you'll be in danger. Zhuowen frowned. After hearing Siku's words, Zhuowen realized that the Phoenix people had such a deep background. The Phoenix clan alone had 5 heaven-reaching masters. This Phoenix clan was much stronger than the Dao Palace level forces in the Xian Mi heavenly domain. Of course, Zhuowen also knew that there was no comparison. The Great Desolate Heavenly Domain was originally much stronger than the Xian Mi Heavenly Domain. After all, the human race was the only race in the Xian Mi Heavenly Domain, while the Great Desolate Heavenly Domain had countless races. Furthermore, in the distant past, the human clan was one of the countless clans in the untainted heavenly realm. They were just one of the clans in the untainted heavenly realm. However, the human clan was able to fight against the untainted heaven realm. This already showed how amazing the human clan was. Of course, Zhuowen also knew that the Xian Mi heavenly domain had not been conquered by the untainted heavenly domain because the various races in the untainted heavenly domain were not united. If the untainted heavenly domain really decided to destroy the Xian Mi heavenly domain, they would gather the strength of all the races. No matter how strong the human clan was, they would still be defeated. Furthermore, the human clans Array Dao and Pil Dao were much stronger than the foreign races in the untainted heavenly domain. A prosperous Pil Dao could create more and more powerful experts for the human clan, and a terrifying Array Dao could create all kinds of great arrays. In war, one person could fight against 10,000 people. It was because of all these reasons that the human clan was able to firmly occupy the Xian Mi heavenly domain and resist the foreign race's invasion for countless years. Furthermore, Zhuo Wen suspected that for a powerful clan like the Phoenix clan, there might be more than just the 5 sky-reaching masters. Therefore, if he really wanted to invade the Phoenix people, he would have to be careful. Lord Zhuo, I think it's best for us to leave the Phoenix people's territory immediately. If we stay here, the chances of us being exposed are too high, Siku said carefully. Zhuoan glanced at Siku and said, Brother Siku, if you don't dare to take the risk, you can leave. However, you have to return the 7 transformation curse pill to me. Since Siku had taken his 7 transformation curse pill, he naturally had to do his best to help him. Now that Siku didn't want to take the risk with him, Zhuoan naturally wouldn't give the 7 transformation curse pill to Siku for nothing. Siku's expression changed slightly. His eyes flickered and he sighed, Lord Zhuo, you know how important your 7 transformation curse pill is to me. I will take the risk with you. Ever since he swallowed the 7 transformation curse pill, the curse power in his body had eased a lot. Even his dropped cultivation level had begun to recover. He knew that as long as he continued to consume the 7 transformation curse pill, his cultivation level would slowly recover to its peak. Now that he was asked to give up the 7 transformation curse pill, wouldn't that be asking for his life? Zhuoan nodded and said, Before I infiltrate the Phoenix people, I plan to make a trip to the Sacred Marten tribe and obtain the Huyi divine arrow from them. Zhuoan looked at Siku and said, Brother Siku, I need you to convey my intention to visit the Sacred Marten tribe to Yueya. Siku's expression changed slightly as he said, Lord Zhuo, the fact that Blue Blood Mulberry and the 3 great commanders learned of the news so quickly, I suspect that it was Yuefu who leaked the news. Wouldn't you be exposing your own whereabouts if you passed the news to Yuefu? I want to expose my whereabouts. Yueya's weakness is that she thinks she's smart. In her eyes, I am her suitor. She will lure me into the Sacred Marten tribe. Zhuoan said nonchalantly. You want to walk right into a trap? Siku frowned. Yes, I want to walk right into a trap. However, it's just the Sacred Marten tribe. Even if the entire Sacred Marten tribe comes, they won't be able to do anything to me. Zhuoan's eyes were like torches as he exuded confidence. However, Siku was still worried. What if Yueya notifies the Phoenix people? What will we do if the Phoenix people send experts to ambush us at the Sacred Marten tribe? She won't. Everyone is greedy. Yueya knows that I am only a Genesis Lord, yet I was able to kill an early-stage Tongtian Lord. She will definitely suspect that I have a huge secret. The fewer people who know about such a huge secret, the better. She will at most contact the other 2 commanders of Phoenix Blood City and then work with the Sacred Marten tribe's leader. At most, there will be 3 early-stage Tongtian lords. I, Zhuoan, am not afraid. Zhuoan said nonchalantly. Siku was silent. He took a deep look at Zhuoan. He felt that Zhuoan was a little too arrogant. Such an idea was simply courting death. 3 early-stage Tongtian lords and numerous Sacred Marten tribe experts. Zhuoan actually dared to enter the Sacred Marten tribe's nest. Wasn't this courting death? Even though he knew that Zhuo Wen had the strength to kill an early-stage Transcending Heaven Lord, the combined strength of 3 Transcending Heaven Lords wasn't as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Their combined strength was terrifying, and they could instantly kill any early-stage Transcending Heaven Lord. They could even put up a fight against an early-stage Tongtian Lord. However, Zhuoan was so arrogant that he didn't take the 3 early-stage Tongtian Lords seriously. Go. Zhuoan looked coldly at Siku. Siku sighed in his heart. He cupped his hands at Zhuoan and flew towards Phoenix Blood City. Chapter 3240. Scheming inside the Phoenix Blood City's commander's mansion, Yu Wei and Gaoge sat in their seats with anger in their eyes, coldly looking at the 2 figures standing in front of them. Yu Wei and Gaoge were the remaining 2 of the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. Among them, Yu Wei was the black-faced alien from back then. He was from the 7-legged centipede race. His body was terrifyingly poisonous, and he was an extremely difficult expert to deal with in the early stages of sky piercing. Furthermore, Yu Wei's strength was ranked 2nd among the 3 commanders. He was slightly stronger than Shun Tuji. As for Gaoge, he was dressed in white and had a jade-like face, looking like a refined scholar. Gaoge was from the red-crowned crane race and was the strongest of the three commanders. Both Shintuji and Yu Wei were wary of Gaoge. Although they were both early-stage Skyrend lords, Gaoge had once attempted to break through to the intermediate stage. Although Gaoge failed in his attempt to break through, he was still much stronger than many early-stage Skyrend lords. The two figures standing in front of Gaoge and Yu Wei were naturally the sacred Marten race's Yuefu and her maid. Yuefu's face was deathly pale. Both Gaoge and Yu Wei were powerful existences no weaker than the sacred Marten race's patriarch. Although Yuefu was a genius of the sacred Marten race, she was still several levels below a Skyrend lord. However, Yuefu still forced herself to remain calm. She knew very well that Gaoge and Yu Wei wouldn't dare to kill her. Because she was Feng Buming's woman. Both Gaoge and Yu Wei knew this. With Feng Buming's status among the Phoenix people, Gaoge and Yu Wei would definitely give him face. Of course, this matter was her fault. She had underestimated Zhuowen's strength and caused Phoenix Blood City to lose a commander. Their sacred Marten race would definitely compensate for the loss. Perhaps their sacred Marten race would have to pay a huge price this time. Thinking of this, Yuefu gritted her teeth in anger at Zhuowen. Why didn't he just die? Now, he had caused her to fall into such a sorry state. Miss Elfu, I also know that you are the woman that Feng Buming has taken a fancy to, but we are not from the Phoenix people. We are just people who have a cooperative relationship with the Phoenix people. Although Feng Buming's status is high, it does not affect us. Gaoge sat on the main seat, gently fiddling with the two jade beads in her hands. Her voice was soft but full of dignity. However, the trouble you've caused this time is rather serious. Because of your miscalculation, you've caused our Phoenix Blood City to lose a commander. If I report this matter to the Phoenix people and place all the blame on you, I'm afraid your sacred Marten clan won't be able to afford it, right? Yuelv bit her lips and looked at Gaoge. Lord Gaoge, this is my fault. Give me a chance to redeem myself. Oh, how are you going to redeem yourself? Gaoge sneered. That Zhuowen is actually one of my pursuers. As long as I leave Phoenix Blood City, I believe that Zhuowen will come to find me. At that time, we can capture this Zhuowen in one fell swoop. This Zhuowen is clearly just a creator, but he possesses such terrifying combat strength. He definitely has a huge secret on him. As long as we kill this Zhuowen, the secret on him will definitely belong to the two commanders, Yuefu said solemnly. Haha. Yuefu, do you really think that Zhuowen is an idiot? Since he caused such a huge trouble, he definitely fled. How could he possibly still stay in the Phoenix people's territory? Yu Wei's eyes revealed a trace of disdain. He hated women like Yuefu who thought highly of themselves the most. Although Yuefu was indeed very beautiful, she was extremely conceited and thought highly of herself. This made Yu Wei very unhappy. Yuefu naturally heard the ridicule in Yu Wei's words. She felt helpless. She also knew that Zhuowen would definitely run away. Other than saying this, she really couldn't think of any other reason to absolve herself of this. The hall instantly fell into a deathly silence. Yuefu's servant girl lay on the ground trembling. She was so afraid that she couldn't say a word. Suddenly, a law enforcer walked in from outside the hall. Gaoge looked coldly at the law enforcer and said, "Can't you see that we are discussing something? Who allowed you to barge in? Go out and receive 1,000 beatings." The law enforcer knelt outside the door and hurriedly said, "Commander, there is a letter here for Miss Yuefu. It was signed by that Zhuowen. I saw that it was from that Zhuowen, so this subordinate took the liberty to barge in." "Oh, it's from that Zhuowen? This Zhuowen has guts. He killed so many of our Phoenix Blood City's law enforcers and actually dares to send a letter over," Yu Wei said furiously. Gaoge's gaze was cold. She looked at Yuefu who was standing below and said, "Miss Yuefu, since this letter is for you, take a look at it first." Yuefu nodded and took the jade slip from the law enforcer's hand with a nervous heart. After her divine sense scanned the jade slip, it directly shattered. Quite cautious. It's actually a one-time use jade slip, Gaoge said in surprise. The so-called one-time use jade slip was set up with a self-destruction restriction. Once a divine sense scanned the contents of the jade slip would automatically shatter. The main reason was for confidentiality. In contrast, Uefu's beautiful eyes revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Gaoge looked at Uefu and asked, "Miss Uefu, what's the content of this jade slip?" Uefu calmed down and said excitedly, "My lords, this Zhuoan said that he admires me very much and wants to go to the Sacred Martin clan to take a look. If it's suitable, he intends to directly propose marriage to our patriarch." Gaoge and Yu Wei were instantly stunned. Is there something wrong with this Zhuoan's head? He just killed the law enforcers of Phoenix Blood City and the young patriarch of the Fire Elephant clan. Not only did he not flee, this fellow is actually still thinking about Uefu. Is this a typical person who doesn't care about his life and loves his beauty? This Zhuoan is courting death. Gaoge sneered, and then she looked at Uefu and said, "Since that Zhuoan wants to go to the Sacred Martin clan, then it's just right. Your patriarch will cooperate with us and join forces to take down this Zhuoan. As long as your Sacred Martin clan cooperates with us, we are willing to share this Zhuoan's secret with your Sacred Martin clan. However, we want 70% of this matter, and your Sacred Martin clan can only take 30%. Uefu sighed lightly when she heard this. Gaoge and Yu Wei not haggling over this matter was the best outcome. Moreover, the two of them were willing to cooperate with the Sacred Martin clan. This was beneficial to the Sacred Martin clan. After all, since Zhuoan could kill Shintuji, he should be stronger than an ordinary early-stage Heaven Ascension Master. Their patriarch might not be able to capture Zhuoan. However, with Gaoge and Yu Wei, it was more than enough. Do we still need to report this matter to the Phoenix people? Uefu asked carefully. Gaoge said indifferently, "After we capture Zhuoan, we will report it to the Phoenix people. There's no hurry now." Uefu nodded and did not speak. She understood Gaoge's meaning. Once this matter was reported to the Phoenix people, the experts of the Phoenix people would definitely participate. The experts of the Phoenix people would definitely intervene. After Zhuoan was captured, they would have nothing to do with the secrets on his body. If they killed Zhuoan first, divided the secrets on Zhuoan's body, and reported it to the Phoenix people would not be so shameless as to ask them to hand over the treasures on Zhuoan's body. Moreover, they were the only ones who knew that Zhuoan was not simple, and that he must have a huge secret on him. Let's set off for the Sacred Martin clan. Let's go there and make some preparations. Gaoge got up and left the hall with Yu Wei. Outside the governor's manor, the law enforcer who delivered the letter entered a dark alley after leaving the governor's manor. After which, his aura and appearance instantly changed, becoming a completely different person from another race. After which, he swaggered into the streets. Chapter 3241. Lord Shuo, Uefu has already returned to the Sacred Martin tribe. Shall we depart now? Siku reported to Zhuoan what he had seen and heard in the governor's mansion after returning to the valley. Zhuoan nodded and turned to Yu Lu. "Brother Yu Lu, what I'm about to do is very dangerous. You should return to the devouring clan tribe first." Yu Lu's pupils shrank and he hurriedly said, "Lord Shuo, Yu Lu said that I will return with you. Moreover, Yu Lu is indebted to Lord Shuo for my current achievements. I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire for Lord Shuo. You're about to break through to the Creator realm. The most important thing for you now is to go into seclusion and not risk your life with me. This is my order," Zhuoan said solemnly. Yu Lu hesitated for a moment and could only agree to Zhuoan's somewhat forceful order. Yu Lu knelt on the ground and bowed to Zhuoan before leaving the valley under Zhuoan's gaze. Siku watched enviously as Yu Lu left. In this place, he was the one who wanted to leave the most. In his opinion, Zhuoan's actions were simply too crazy. It was as if he was dancing on the tip of a blade. He was truly reckless. However, he was helpless. Zhuowen was too strong. Even if he recovered to his peak, he would not be Zhuowen's match. Siku, what was your peak cultivation level? Zhuowen suddenly asked. Siku came back to his senses and hurriedly said, Lord Zhuo, my peak cultivation level was the early stage creator realm. Now, my cultivation level has recovered to the early stage creator realm. This is all thanks to Lord Zhuo's 7 transformation curse pill. I understand. Let's go to the sacred marten tribe first. Zhuowen pondered for a moment but did not say anything. Instead, he led Siku to the sacred marten tribe. Siku was a little confused. He felt that Zhuowen's question was somewhat baffling. In the sacred marten tribe, Patriarch Jing Cai came out of seclusion. Her beautiful eyes were solemn as she looked at the distant horizon. A streak of light flashed over from the horizon. The streak of light was extremely fast and soon arrived at the plaza where Jing Cai was. Jing Cai welcomed them with a smile. Welcome, Commanders Gaoge and Yu Wei. Gaoge put away the flying divine artifact and strode forward. Yu Wei followed closely behind. Yuefu and the maid followed behind, not daring to make a sound. Patriarch Jing Cai is too polite. I'm sure you know why we're here, right? Gaoge asked politely. Jing Cai's beautiful eyes lit up as she asked solemnly, Commanders, are you sure that Zhuowen has a precious treasure on him? A smile appeared on Gaoge's face. It's absolutely true. Otherwise, how could a mere god of creation possess such powerful combat prowess? He must have relied on some extremely precious treasure to achieve this. Moreover, this kid even killed the young patriarch of the Fire Elephant clan, Momo, and seized the Hoey God arrow on Momo's body. Not only that, that fellow even generously took out 3 Tai Chi energy gathering pills and gave them to Miss Yuanfu. Jing Cai's expression changed as she looked at Yuefu, seeking her confirmation. Yuefu nodded and took out the 3 Tai Chi energy gathering pills from her spirit ring. Patriarch, these are from Zhuowen. I suspect that Zhuowen has other high-grade divine pills on him. He's extremely wealthy. Jing Cai examined the 3 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills, and after confirming that not only were these 3 divine pills not fake, but they were also of extremely high quality, she said rather excitedly, good. I'll cooperate with the 2 commanders this time. She then returned the pills to Yuefu and said, Yuefu, these Tai Chi energy gathering pills can help you advance to the Lord of Creation realm. Take them back and cultivate well. Gaoge and Yu Wei were full of smiles as they asked, Patriarch Jing Cai, how should we split Zhuowen's spirit ring? QL11 Jing Cai frowned slightly. She knew that Gaoge and Yu Wei were planning to work together to reap the benefits. Let's talk about the distribution after we deal with that Zhuowen. I believe that Zhuowen will be here soon, said Jing Cai. Gaoge and Yu Wei exchanged a look and nodded. They didn't refute. Patriarch, there's a fellow called Zhuowen who said that he was invited by Miss Yuefu. He asked me to inform Miss Yuefu. A sacred marten race guard hurriedly came in and reported while kneeling in front of Jing Cai. Yuefu, go out and welcome that Zhuowen. I'll arrange for people to make sure that Zhuowen can't leave this time. Jing Cai's pretty eyes revealed a glint. She led Gaoge and Yu Wei away from the square, while Yuelf headed towards the city gates of the sacred marten tribe. Zhuowen and Siku stood outside the city gates. Since they weren't members of the sacred marten race, they were refused entry. The sacred marten race's attitude is terrible, Siku complained. Zhuowen stood quietly on the spot without making a sound. Soon, they saw the city gate open, and Yuefu walked out of it. Zhuowen, you really came. Do you know how sad I was when you left without saying goodbye in Phoenix Blood City? Yuefu came in front of Zhuowen. Her beautiful eyes were filled with resentment. She looked so pitiful that it made one feel pity for her. Zhuowen glanced at Yuefu calmly and said with a faint smile, Isn't it because I missed you, Miss Yuefu? Oh right, Miss Yuefu, you know the purpose of my visit. I wonder what your patriarch wants. Yuefu revealed a shy expression and said coquettishly, This matter is too sudden. Follow me to the meeting hall first. The patriarch is in the meeting hall. I can't make the decision on this matter. You have to speak to the patriarch personally. All right then. This is a major matter. I naturally have to inform your patriarch. Zhuowen laughed and followed Yuefu into the city. After entering the city, Yuefu led the way without saying a word. She basically didn't say a word to Zhuowen. The enthusiasm she had outside the city gates was completely gone. It was as if she had become a different person. Zhuowen sneered in his heart and also didn't say a word. The moment he entered the city, he felt the fluctuations of an array formation. He knew that the sacred Marten race's protective array was ready to be activated. From the fluctuations, Zhuowen sensed that the sacred Marten race's protective array was actually a creation-grade array. After entering the meeting hall, Zhuowen found that the 12 seats in the meeting hall were all occupied. Sitting at the head of the table was a beautiful woman. On either side of this beautiful woman sat a black-faced alien race member and a scholarly alien race member. Zhuowen guessed that this beautiful woman should be the patriarch of the sacred Marten race, Jing Cai. Her aura was as vast as the sea. She was clearly a genuine master of heaven-piercing. The black-faced alien race member and the scholar sitting on either side of the beautiful woman had auras no weaker than the beautiful woman. Among them, the scholar's aura was the most terrifying. He was even stronger than the black-faced alien race member. In addition, the other 9 alien race members should be the upper echelons of the sacred Marten race. Their auras weren't weak. The weakest among them was a creation master. The strongest was a half-step master of heaven-piercing. After bringing Zhuowen into the meeting hall, Yuefu ignored Zhuowen and walked to Jing Cai's side with a cold expression. Her beautiful eyes were filled with mockery as she looked coldly at Zhuowen and Siku, who were standing at the door. Zhuowen looked around and found that there were only 12 seats in the meeting hall. There were no extra seats at all. He knew that Jing Cai and the others had purposely arranged this. "You are Zhuowen?" Jing Cai didn't say anything. Instead, it was the old man sitting at the head of the table who asked in a strange voice. This old man should hold a high position in the sacred Marten race because his cultivation was very strong. He was a half-step master of heaven-piercing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to sit at the head of the table. Zhuowen didn't answer the old man's question. Instead, he walked straight toward the old man. "I lack a seat. Get out of here." Chapter 32-42. The old man was stunned. This Zhuowen was too bold. He had actually asked him to scram the moment he arrived and wanted to snatch his seat. However, the old man soon flew into a rage. Who did this Zhuowen think he was? What right did he have to ask him to scram? The old man unleashed all his strength without hesitation and threw a punch at Zhuowen. However, the old man's eyes soon revealed a look of horror. This was because an aura that was much stronger than his was crushing toward him, causing his body to freeze on the spot. "Master Tongtian." As soon as the old man said this, Zhuowen's right claw had already grabbed his collar and flung him out like he was trash. Zhuowen's actions were too fast. Before anyone could react, the old man had already landed heavily at the door, sprawled out on all fours. "How dare you!" In an instant, the other upper echelons of the sacred Marten clan all stood up and unleashed terrifying auras. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Zhuowen. Zhuowen ignored the murderous gazes of the sacred Marten clan members. Instead, he slowly sat down at the head of the table and said indifferently, "Clan leader Jing Cai, you are a guest from afar, right? Is this how you treat a guest who has come from afar?" Jing Cai took a deep look at Zhuowen. Soon after, she smiled sweetly and said, "Brother Zhuo, I was negligent just now. I apologize to you on behalf of the sacred Marten clan." Yuefu, who was standing beside Jing Cai, stared coldly at Zhuowen expressionlessly. In her opinion, Zhuowen was about to die. There was no need for her to put on an act in front of a dead man. Zhuowen waved his hand lazily and said, "There's no need for an apology. I only hope that clan leader Jing Cai can keep your dog in check. Don't come out and bark. I'm tired of hearing it. Little bastard, you." At the door, the old man, who had barely managed to get up, flew into a rage when he heard Zhuowen's mocking words. Just as he was about to step forward and fight with Zhuowen, he was immediately stopped by Jing Cai's shout. QL11. The old man had an embarrassed look on his face. He could only suppress his anger and stand in a corner of the hall. Gaoge and Yu Wei, who were sitting on either side of Jing Cai, sneered at Zhuowen. In their eyes, Zhuowen was already a dead man. They disdained to speak to Zhuowen, who was about to die. Jing Cai was not angry and said indifferently, "I heard from Yuefu that you visited our sacred Martin to propose marriage." Speaking of the marriage proposal, Yuefu, who was standing beside Jing Cai, raised her chin, her beautiful eyes filled with arrogance. Zhuowen was startled. He had not really come to the sacred Martin clan to propose marriage. This was merely an excuse. His true goal was to obtain Hu Yi's divine arrow. What he didn't expect was that Yuefu would turn hostile so quickly. But he didn't care. What he cared about now was where the sacred Martin clan kept the Hu Yi divine arrow. Yuefu, you already have someone in your heart? How come I didn't know? I see that Zhuowen is very talented and powerful. Is there a better candidate than him? Jing Cai pretended to be surprised. Compared to him, Zhuowen is far too weak. Yuefu shook her head. Oh, he's even more powerful than Zhuowen. Could it be that person? Jing Cai seemed to have thought of something. Patriarch, you guessed right. He is the Phoenix people's shocking genius, Feng Bumming. I have already pledged my life to Bumming. I haven't told you about this before. Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a fervent look when she mentioned Feng Bumming. Her beautiful face revealed a shy expression. It's actually Feng Bumming. That's great. Feng Bumming is the Phoenix people's monstrous genius. I heard that when Feng Bumming was still a half-step Skyrend Lord, he had already killed an early-stage Skyrend Lord. Yu Wei, who was sitting at the side and had been silent all this time, revealed a surprised expression and spoke up. Gaoge's expression was also solemn. It wasn't that he hadn't heard of the rumors between Feng Bumming and Yuefu. He had thought that the two were just fooling around. He didn't expect that Feng Bumming and Yuefu would actually pledge their life to each other. The implications were huge. Feng Bumming would definitely inherit the position of Phoenix Lord in the future. If Yuefu really married Feng Bumming, it would be incredible. Yuefu would become the Phoenix Queen in the future. Good, good, good. Feng Bumming is really a good match for you. Yuefu, you have brought honor to our sacred Martin clan. Jing Cai laughed heartily. Zhuowen silently watched Jing Cai and Yuefu echo each other. He knew that the two were planning to humiliate him. If he really admired Yuefu and came to propose marriage, he would indeed be humiliated to the point of anger. Unfortunately, the marriage proposal was just an excuse for him to enter the sacred Martin clan. He really didn't feel anything about Jing Cai and Yuefu echoing each other. Brother Zhuowen, as you can see, Yuefu already has someone in her heart. I'm afraid our sacred Martin clan can't agree to your marriage proposal. Jing Cai looked at Zhuowen with a smile. She really wanted to see Zhuowen's embarrassed and angry look. However, what surprised her was that Zhuowen was as calm as a demon and didn't show any signs of being flustered and exasperated. Haha, since Miss Yuefu already has someone in her heart, I won't be a third party. There's no need to mention this marriage proposal, Zhuowen said with a faint smile. Yuefu frowned slightly. She suddenly couldn't see through this Zhuowen in front of her. She couldn't find the fanatical gaze that he had when they first met. When she saw this person again, she saw that this person's eyes had always been terrifyingly calm, like an ancient well without ripples. This made Yuefu very displeased. In her view, this Zhuowen had already slammed the table and stood up in a rage, shouting that he wanted to challenge Feng Bumming and so on. But unfortunately, Zhuowen was too calm, so calm that it made her feel extremely unfamiliar. Brother Zhuowen is really open-minded. Actually, if you really want to pursue Yuefu, it's not that you don't have a chance. If you have Heaven Ascension Lord Divine pills, I'll make the decision for you and matchmake you and Yuefu. How about it? Jing Cai said with a smile. Zhuowen sneered coldly in his heart. How could he not tell that this Jing Cai was testing him? Haha, I have a lot of divine pills. If you want Heaven Ascension Lord divine pills, that's easy. I have quite a number of such divine pills. For example, this Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill. Zhuo Wen took out a divine pill that was as green as jade. As soon as this pill appeared, a refreshing aura that made people feel as if they were on cloud 9 filled the entire hall. This Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill was refined by Zhuoan in the Massacre Heavenly Domain and given to my Ying and Qi Gaoming respectively to help them break through to the middle stage of Heaven Ascension Lord. This was a genuine middle stage Heaven Ascension Lord divine pill. It was specially used to help early stage Heaven Ascension Lord cultivators break through to the middle stage of Heaven Ascension Lord. The moment Zhuoan took out the Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill, the entire hall fell into a strange silence. Especially Jing Cai, Yu Wei, and Gaoge, who were sitting at the head of the table. They were all stunned, but soon, their eyes were filled with a strong desire. Yuefu looked at Zhuoan in shock. She already found it unbelievable that this person could take out a creation-level divine pill. But now, this guy was even more abnormal. He actually took out a Heaven Ascension Lord divine pill. This level of divine pill was really too rare in the primitive heavenly domain. Generally, only the 10 major races had this level of divine pill, and there were not many of them. Chapter 32-43. Brother Zhuo, how many supreme clear spiritual energy pills do you have? Gaoge couldn't help but ask. Zhuo Wen put away the supreme clear spiritual energy pills and said nonchalantly, not many, only 1 bottle. The hall fell into a suffocating silence once again. Jing Cai, Gaoge, and Yu Wei involuntarily licked their lips. A divine pill like the supreme clear spiritual energy pills was hard to come by for them, but this guy actually had a bottle. This was simply inviting hatred. Brother Zhuo, how about this? Aren't you pursuing Yueru? I'll marry Yueru to you, and you'll give me all the supreme clear spiritual energy pills you have. How about that? Jing Cai couldn't help but ask. In Jing Cai's opinion, the supreme clear spiritual energy pills were too useful to her, far more important than the marriage between Yueru and Feng Bumming. Yueru's pretty face changed slightly. She was just about to say something, but Jing Cai glared at her sternly. Clan leader Jing Cai, I heard that your Sacred Martin clan has a Huyi divine arrow. If you give it to me, I'll give you the bottle of supreme clear spiritual energy pills. How about that? Zhuo Wen smiled faintly. The smile on Jing Cai's face froze. She looked coldly at Zhuo Wen and said, Huyi divine arrow? I'm sorry, but our Sacred Martin clan doesn't have such a thing. Since you don't have it, I'll take my leave. Zhuo Wen stood up, cupped his hands at Jing Cai, and walked out the door. Zhuo Wen, you won't be able to walk out of the Sacred Martin clan today. All the experts in the hall stood up, and terrifying auras surged towards Zhuo Wen. Jing Cai, Gaoge, and Yu Wei also stood up and walked towards Zhuo Wen. Zhuo Wen walked to the door, but his footsteps paused as he said nonchalantly, Clan leader Jing Cai, do you mean to keep me here? You're wrong. Our Sacred Martin clan doesn't welcome you. I want you to leave behind your life and the spirit ring on your hand. Attack. Jing Cai gave the order and the 9 Sacred Martin clan experts revealed their true forms. They flew towards Zhuoan like numerous illusory figures. The true form of the Sacred Martin race was a martin that emitted a golden sacred light. Its body was light and its speed was extremely fast. Zhuoan waved his sleeve, sending Siku into his greater world. Then, he stomped his foot, causing the spacetime around him to distort. The 9 Sacred Martin tribe members fell into the spatial distortion, and their speed became much slower. Fate spacetime slaughter. Zhuoan's figure was like a ghost in the distorted spacetime. He pointed with his right hand and a long purple river swept out of the void. The purple river seemed to have teleported, and it swept up the 9 members of the Sacred Martin clan, causing miserable shrieks to resound continuously. Bang bang bang. One by one, the Saint Martins fell from the purple river onto the ground. All of them had lost all signs of life and were deader than dead. Jing Cai was enraged. She let out a cry and broke through the purple river's defense. Her jade-like palm emitted a blazing golden light as it blasted towards Zhuowen's chest. Gaoge and Yu Wei had grasped the timing very well. They broke through the purple river's defense from two other directions and unleashed their most powerful attacks towards Zhuowen's vital points. The three early-stage Tongtian Lord experts had sealed off all of Zhuowen's escape routes. Even if he was an early-stage Tongtian Lord, he would be severely injured by the combined attacks of the three experts. Zhuowen narrowed his eyes. He did something that shocked Jing Cai, Yu Wei, and Gaoge. That was because Zhuowen had given up on defense and attacked Yu Wei. Among the three, Yu Wei was the weakest. He should have reached the early-stage Tongtian Lord realm the shortest time. Gaoge was the strongest among the three, and he should not be far from breaking through to the mid-stage Tongtian Lord realm. Zhuowen only wanted to end the battle quickly and get rid of the weaker one first. He also knew that he could not get rid of Gaoge in a short time, so he could only use such a strategy. The moment he gave up on defense, Zhuowen had already used the mysterious light of creation to cover his body. He then punched Yu Wei with his right fist. "You're courting death." Yu Wei snorted coldly and also punched out. The two fists collided. Yu Wei screamed as his right fist was immediately shattered. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was extremely pale. The moment Yu Wei was severely injured, Zhuowen flicked his finger. A sword light wrapped in lightning and fire energy swept out and caught up with Yu Wei in an instant. Yu Wei did not even have time to react before his glabella was pierced by the sword light wrapped in lightning and fire. His soul was extinguished. At the same time, Gaoge and Jing Cai's attacks had already landed on Zhuowen's body. Zhuowen took the attack head-on. He grunted and spat out a mouthful of blood. Even though his Pangu sacred body was very powerful, his chest and shoulder blades were still shattered by the terrifying attacks. He could even clearly hear the sound of bones breaking in his body. Gaoge's attack was the most terrifying. It landed on his chest and completely shattered his sternum. His internal organs were also severely injured. Zhuowen fell heavily on the ground, causing a cloud of dust to spread out. Gaoge's eyes were filled with shock and anger. He did not expect Zhuowen to be so ferocious and kill Yu Wei as soon as he came up. "Patriarch Jing Cai, this boy is severely injured. Let's continue to work together and kill him completely." Gaoge hurriedly sent a divine thought to Jing Cai and then fell from the sky. But soon, a sword light of lightning and fire rushed over and slashed at Gaoge's head. Gaoge let out a long cry. The energy around him transformed into illusory images of red-crowned cranes. His aura skyrocketed to an extremely terrifying level as he fiercely fought with the sword of lightning and fire. F***CK. How can this Gaoge be so strong? This Dragon Lord has reached the middle stage of the connecting heaven realm. How can I not defeat this Gaoge? Xiao Hei's strange cry could be heard. Xiao Hei released a boundless domain of lightning and fire while shouting. The more Gaoge fought, the more shocked he became. This divine weapon was too terrifying. He was an expert who had tried to reach the middle stage of the connecting heaven realm. His strength was much stronger than that of an early-stage connecting heaven realm master. But now, he could not even take down a divine weapon. "Patriarch Jing Cai, what are you still looking at? Go and kill that Zhuowen. He's already seriously injured. We can't let him recover," Gaoge said in a flustered and exasperated manner when he saw the stunned Jing Cai not far away. Jing Cai came back to her senses. She unleashed all her power and rushed toward the place where Zhuowen fell. She also knew the seriousness of the matter. Zhuowen's strength was so strong that it terrified her. The three of them worked together and killed Yu Wei in one move. How terrifying was this guy? When Jing Cai landed in the hole where Zhuowen was, she was shocked to find that there was no sign of Zhuowen in the hole. A purple river instantly shot out from the ground like a giant serpent, enveloping Jing Cai's entire body. Bang! Zhuowen drilled out of the ground. He did not care about Jing Cai, who was trapped by the purple river. Jing Cai's strength was very ordinary. He did not care about her. What he cared about was Gaoge. This Gaoge's strength was somewhat beyond his expectations. He had to get rid of this Gaoge as soon as possible. Zhuowen took out the Huyi Godly Bow and Huyi Godly Arrow, and suddenly pulled the bowstring to half an arc. Ever since he had refined the Huyi Godly Bow and Huyi Godly Arrow into their complete forms, their power had increased to a terrifying level. With his current physique, it was already difficult for him to pull the bowstring to a full moon. Whoosh! Zhuowen released the bowstring, and the Huyi Godly Arrow shot toward Gaoge with a terrifying killing intent. F***ck. This guy still has the Huyi Godly Bow. Run, QL11. Sensing the terrifying killing intent below, Gaoge immediately saw Zhuowen holding the bow and arrow. All the hair on his body stood on end. He did not even think about it and began to run. F***ck, your Master Long hasn't played enough yet. Why are you running, you little brat? Play with your Master Long for another 300 round. Xiao He naturally would not let Gaoge go so easily. His Thunder Fire domain immediately expanded. Its power was shocking and forcefully entangled Gaoge. No. Chapter 3244. Golden Mountain. Gaoge's body exploded with a terrifying mist of blood. His body twitched as his tattered corpse fell from the sky. Huyi's arrow was simply too terrifying. Not only had it almost destroyed his physical body, but the terrifying killing intent emanating from the arrow had also rushed into his sea of consciousness and destroyed his soul. After Gaoge fell, Zhuowen waved his sleeve, and the purple river that was wrapped around Jingcai immediately dispersed, revealing Jingcai's figure. At this moment, Jingcai was in a rather sorry state. She looked at Zhuowen cautiously. The fate spacetime slaughter was extremely difficult to deal with. It was extremely difficult for her to resist within the purple river. If Zhuowen had retreated a little later, Jingcai would probably have been seriously injured. After leaving the purple river, Jingcai was just about to loudly berate Zhuowen when she immediately realized that something was wrong. She didn't see Gaoge's figure. Soon, she saw Gaoge. However, what she saw was an ice-cold corpse. Gaoge has died. Jingcai's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. Gaoge was the strongest of the three of them. Back then, he had the experience of reaching the middle stage of the sky-connecting realm. Although he didn't succeed, his strength was far superior to ordinary early-stage sky-connecting realm masters. It hadn't been that long, yet Gaoge had been killed by Zhuowen. Just how terrifying was Zhuowen? Jingcai retreated dejectedly. Her beautiful eyes fell on Zhuowen. She no longer had any desire to fight. She knew that she was completely no match for Zhuowen. The upper echelons of the Sacred Marten clan had basically all been killed by Zhuowen. The rest were just ordinary clansmen. In front of a peerless expert like Zhuowen, what use were ordinary clansmen with low cultivation bases? No matter how many of them there were, they were just useless cannon fodder. Zhuowen, I was the one who planned all of this. I only hope that you won't implicate my clansmen. They are innocent. Jingcai knelt on both knees and said in a pleading tone. Zhuowen's eyes were very cold as he spoke in a faint voice. I have already said that I have come to your Sacred Marten tribe for the Huyi Divine Arrow. However, you do not know what is good for you. You coveted the item on my body and set up a killing formation to kill me. I'll give you sufficient compensation for this matter. I'll also give you the Huyi God Arrow. I only ask that you don't implicate my clansmen, Jingcai said sincerely. Zhuowen glanced at Jingcai and said, that will depend on your performance. If I'm satisfied with your performance, I can consider not implicating your clansmen. Zhuowen was not a bloodthirsty person. Although Jingcai had plotted against him, he was not so vicious as to massacre the entire Sacred Marten tribe. The reason he had said this was naturally to create the image of a ruthless person who killed decisively. Otherwise, Jingcai would not have handed over the Huyi Divine Arrow so readily if she did not have any worries. Thank you, Jingcai kowtowed to Zhuowen. Meanwhile, Yuefu, who was standing not far away, was completely dumbstruck. She covered her mouth with her jade-like hand as she stared at Zhuowen in disbelief. Yuefu realized that she could not see through Zhuowen anymore. When Zhuowen had first appeared before her, he was only a god of creation stage cultivator. She had also thought that he was only an ordinary god of creation stage cultivator. However, this fellow had defeated Mao Mo and killed 5 fire elephant race powerhouses and an enforcement team the moment he made his move. At the time, she had thought that this person had concealed his cultivation base and that his true strength was at most a half-step ascension overlord. However, this fellow had eliminated one of the 3 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City, Shintu Ji, in the blink of an eye. She had thought that the 3 early-stage ascension overlords would be enough to take him down, but she had been wrong again. Not only had Zhuowen survived the encirclement of the 3 early-stage ascension overlords, he had even killed them. Yuefu really wanted to ask Zhuowen just how powerful he was. However, she did not dare to ask. She did not even dare to approach Zhuowen. This fellow was simply a killing god. Moreover, Yuefu finally understood that Zhuowen's so-called marriage proposal was just an excuse. His true goal was the Huyi divine arrow. Yuefu's face flushed red at the thought of this. She revealed a look of shock and anger. She felt that Zhuowen was looking down on her too much. At the same time, she began to doubt her own charm. "Let's go. Take me to the place where the Huyi divine arrow is hidden," Zhuowen said indifferently. Jing Cai did not dare to disobey Zhuowen's order. She obediently agreed and led Zhuowen to the sacred Martin clan's forbidden area. Zhuowen did not even glance at Yuefu from start to finish. Looking at Zhuowen's departing figure, Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a look of resentment. No one had ever dared to deceive her emotionally. Yuefu had always been the one deceiving others. However, she felt that she had been tricked by Zhuowen. It was hard for her to swallow this anger. However, Yuefu felt a sense of powerlessness. Zhuowen was too powerful. Zhuowen did not even dare to fart in front of her. What could she change? Suddenly, the communication jade talisman at Yuefu's waist lit up. Yuefu frowned and took out the communication jade talisman. However, when she saw the name displayed on the jade talisman, her beautiful eyes revealed a look of pleasant surprise. She muttered to herself, "Bu Ming has actually come out of seclusion. Moreover, he has advanced to the heaven-reaching master level. I must inform Bu Ming of this and ask him to bring the experts of the Phoenix people to the sacred Martin clan. We must eliminate this Zhuowen." Yuefu's beautiful eyes flickered. After sending a message to Feng Bu Ming, she left. The sacred Martin clan's forbidden area was a small golden hill. This small hill emitted a light that resembled the scorching sun. Rays of light interweaved on the small hill to form special runes and lines. Zhuowen could tell at a glance that this small golden hill was illusory. It was an illusory golden mountain formed by interweaving formations and restrictions that formed a complicated seal rune. Moreover, the level of the formations on this small golden hill was not weak. They had actually reached the peak of the creation level, which was even higher than the sacred Martin clan's guardian formation. Such a level was rare even in the Eldritch Heaven domain. Zhuowen suspected that the formations on the surface of this small golden hill were not set up by the sacred Martin clan's god formation masters. "Lord Shui, the Huyi divine arrow is sealed in this golden hill. This golden hill is a kind of peak creation level sealing formation. It was set up by the sacred Martin clan's top expert a long time ago." Jing Cai's eyes were filled with respect. She had now addressed Zhuowen as Lord Shui. It could be said that she was extremely respectful. However, when Jing Cai mentioned that apex expert, her eyes revealed a trace of pride. This sealing formation was very unusual. In Jing Cai's opinion, it did not matter how powerful Zhuowen was. If he wanted to break this sealing formation, he might not be able to break it with brute force. Therefore, he might not be able to obtain the Huyi divine arrow. Zhuowen did not know what Jing Cai was thinking. His gaze landed on the golden hill in front of him. He took a step forward and swept to the front of the golden hill. The formation runes on this golden hill were very mysterious. However, in Zhuowen's eyes, These runes were simply child's play. After all, it was only a creation-level array. Zhuowen put 2 fingers together and suddenly pointed at the Golden Hill. Jing Cai was stunned when she discovered that the Golden Hill was violently shaking. Then, she saw with her own eyes that the Golden Hill, which had not changed for 10,000 years, was actually collapsing. Chapter 32:45. Phoenix Cry Palace. Zhuowen took the brocade box in his hand and opened it. Immediately, a terrifying killing intent surged out from the brocade box. Zhuowen snorted coldly. A powerful aura erupted from his body and completely suppressed the killing intent. A blood-stained divine arrow lay quietly in the brocade box. Zhuowen knew that it was Hu Yi's divine arrow. The tainted blood on the divine arrow was the blood of the Golden Crow. In ancient times, great shaman Hu Yi had forged 9 peerless divine arrows. With these 9 peerless divine arrows, he had single-handedly shot down 9 golden crows that were wreaking havoc in the untainted world and enjoyed eternal fame. Hu Yi was the leader of countless great shamans in that era. He was a terrifying expert second only to the 12 grand shamans. It could be said that Hu Yi's 9 divine arrows were all tainted with the blood of the Golden Crow. Including the Hu Yi divine arrow from the sacred Marten tribe, Zhuowen had a total of 5 Hu Yi divine arrows. 2 of the Hu Yi divine arrows had the blood of the Golden Crow removed by the Black King and revealed their complete form. As for the 3 Hu Yi divine arrows that he had just found in the untainted world, they were still tainted by the blood of the Golden Crow and could not unleash their full power. Zhuowen had tried to use the power of the Pangu sacred body to remove the blood of the Golden Crow. However, it took him a long time to remove a trace of it. In the end, Zhuowen gave up on removing the blood of the Golden Crow himself. Zhuowen knew that he was not strong enough. Otherwise, he could have easily removed the blood of the Golden Crow on the divine arrow like the Black King. At the same time, Zhuowen was even more wary of the legendary Golden Crow. Countless years had passed, but the tainted blood left behind was still so difficult to deal with. Then, wouldn't a complete Golden Crow be comparable to a peak sky-reaching master? It was a terrifying existence. After putting away the Hu Yi divine arrow, Zhuowen turned around and looked at the uneasy Jing Cai behind him. He said indifferently, "You have 2 choices now. 1. Use your life in exchange for the survival of the entire sacred Marten tribe. 2. Your sacred Marten tribe will be annihilated and you will live." Jing Cai's beautiful eyes widened. Soon, she revealed a dejected expression and smiled bitterly. "Do I have a choice? I choose the first option. Our sacred Marten race's legacy cannot be broken. If you swear an oath to the heavenly Tao right now that you won't attack my sacred Marten tribe, I'm willing to pay with my life." Zhuowen glanced indifferently at Jing Cai and said, "I, Zhuowen, swear to the heaven Tao that if your sacred Mink clan doesn't act against me, then I'll absolutely not look for trouble with your sacred Mink clan in the future. If you break your oath, your Tao heart will shatter." Jing Cai looked deeply at Zhuowen and sighed in her heart. An oath to shatter one's Tao heart was extremely serious. Since this Zhuowen dared to make such an oath, it meant that he didn't intend to do anything to her clansmen. "Remember your oath." As Jing Cai spoke, she placed her finger on his forehead and crushed his soul. Zhuowen looked indifferently at Jing Cai, who had fallen to the ground and died. There was no pity in his eyes. Jing Cai had schemed to frame him and had long planned to take Zhuowen's life. If it wasn't for Zhuowen's strength, he would have already perished in the sacred Marten tribe. Furthermore, his belongings would have been divided among Jing Cai and the others. When facing an enemy who wanted to take his life, Zhuowenjue had never thought of showing mercy. Zhuowen strode out of the sacred Marten tribe. The sacred Marten tribe was already scared out of their wits. No one dared to stop Zhuowen. The Phoenix Cry Palace was one of the top 3 most luxurious palaces among the Phoenix people. The owner of the Phoenix Cry Palace was the palace of the #1 prodigy of the Phoenix people, Fengbumming. At this moment, the Phoenix Cry Palace was rather lively. Most of the upper echelons of the Phoenix people had basically arrived at the Phoenix Cry Palace. The most conspicuous figures in the Phoenix Cry Palace were 3 figures. These three people constantly flickered with phoenix shadows and faintly emitted a soul-stirring aura. Among the three of them, one of them was a white-haired elder wearing a long black robe. This black-robed elder was one of the three great elders of the Phoenix people, Elder Hong. Zhuowen had met Elder Hong back at the Galactic Battle Arena. At that time, Elder Hong had bullied the weak and attacked Zhuowen because of the Saintess. Zhuowen wasn't unfamiliar with Elder Hong. Or rather, he was very familiar with him. The other two people were very tall. They were at least 10 feet tall. They were wrapped in windbreakers and wore thick hoods. Looking from the mouth of the hat, it was actually pitch black. It was impossible to see the specific appearance of these two people. The windbreakers on the two of them were of the same style. The only difference was the color of the windbreakers. One of them had a blood-red windbreaker while the other had a bright black windbreaker. It was a stark contrast. Furthermore, the aura emitted from the two of them actually surpassed that of the two great elders standing beside them. These two people were the famous Xuanhua Guardians among the Phoenix people. The man in the blood-red windbreaker was called the Xuanhua Guardian, while the man in the black windbreaker was called the He Xian Guardian. The Xuanhua Guardians were very mysterious among the Phoenix people. They rarely went outside and had always been guarding the Phoenix people. Moreover, the Xuanhua Guardian status among the Phoenix people was almost the same as that of the three great elders. They were on equal footing, not superior and subordinate. There's only half a year left until the Sorcerer Song Conference. It's a great fortune for the Phoenix people that bumming has successfully broken through at such a crucial time, the two great elders, Elder Hong and Elder Hong, said with gratified eyes. The Xuanhua Guardian nodded and said, Feng Bumming is the most powerful genius among the younger generation of the Phoenix people. If he hadn't broken through to become a master, it would have been difficult for him to get a spot in the Sorcerer Song Conference. But now, I'm sure that Feng Bumming will definitely amaze the crowd and get a spot in the Sorcerer Song Conference. Although the He Xian Guardian didn't say anything, he nodded in agreement. In the entire primitive celestial realm, there were only a handful of people who could become a master within 10,000 years. All of them were brilliant and terrifying geniuses. Now that Feng Bumming had also achieved it, they were naturally very happy. If the Saintess is still around and participates in the Sorcerer Song Conference, she can still get a spot. With the Saintess's 99 Phoenix body bloodline, her cultivation speed is extremely fast. Although it's impossible for her to become a master in a short period of time, it's enough for her to become a master of creation. With the strength of her 99 Phoenix body bloodline, she'll be able to fight against a master of heaven, the He Xian Guardian said in a low voice. That human called Zhuowen is truly audacious. He actually dared to kidnap my clan's holy maiden. If I can catch him, I'll definitely make him suffer a fate worse than death. Elder Hong of the two clans gritted his teeth in anger when he thought of the Saintess. We failed to attack the human territory last time. If we want to attack the human territory again, I'm afraid it'll be a long time later. Moreover, we can't enter the human territory. It's impossible to capture Zhuowen, the Xuanhua Guardian said coldly. I heard that Zhuowen is Mu Chenshue's partner. The reason why Zhuowen kidnapped the Saintess is mainly because of Mu Chenxue, right? Since Zhuowen is so loyal to Mu Chenxue, why didn't the Grand Elder hand over Mu Chenxue and exchange her for the Saintess with Zhuowen? He Xian asked in surprise. Elder Hong of the two clans shook his head and said, Mu Chenxue is very important. It's related to the origin of the 99 Phoenix body. We can't hand her over so easily. Xuehua and He Xian fell silent. After all, they were key figures in the Phoenix people and knew many secrets. Mu Chenxue was only a human, but she possessed the 99 Phoenix body that the Phoenix people were envious of. This was very strange in itself. After all, the 99 Phoenix body was the bloodline of the Phoenix people. It was very strange that a mere human could possess the bloodline of the Phoenix people. Chapter 3246. Phoenix Scripture. Some time ago, the Grand Elder and the Third Elder took Mu Chenxue away from the clan. They must have left the primitive heavenly realm to search for the origin of Mu Chenxue, right? Guardian Shuehua suddenly asked. Elder Hong glanced at Shuehua and said, "Indeed. If we can figure out how a mere human can obtain the bloodline of the 99 Phoenix body, it means that we Phoenix people may be able to find some way to stimulate the more powerful bloodline in our bodies. The Grand Elder and the Third Elder's actions are entirely for the benefit of the Phoenix people." Shuehua and He Xian looked at each other and could not help but frown. Just as they were about to say something, an uproar came from the front of the hall. The main character of the day, Feng Bumming, was leisurely walking out from an inner room at the side of the hall. Feng Bumming was dressed in a fiery red formal suit. His fiery red hair stood up, highlighting his arrogant and unbridled temperament. Even his eyebrows were fiery red. From afar, it looked as if his entire body was burning with flames. Feng Bumming saw Elder Hong and Shuehua, who were not far away, at a glance. He walked straight toward the three of them. "Bu Ming, congratulations to you this time. If the Grand Elder knows about this, he will be very happy." Elder Hong stepped forward with a gratified smile on his face as he congratulated Feng Bumming. Although Feng Bumming was arrogant, he still did not dare to overstep his boundaries in front of an elder like Elder Hong. "Congratulations, Second Elder. You have made further progress and broken through the early stage of the Master of Heaven to the middle stage of the Master of Heaven," Feng Bumming said politely. Elder Hong laughed and said, "I was lucky. Thanks to the divine elixir given to me by the Phoenix Master, it would not have been so easy for me to break through. The Phoenix Master is back." Feng Bumming's eyes lit up. He came back from the Heaven Accessing Place some time ago. It is said that it was because of the Wu Song Conference. "Bumming, now that you have become a Master of Heaven, you are qualified to enter the Heaven Accessing Place. This time, the Phoenix Master should have brought you a quota for today's Heaven Accessing Place. But the Phoenix Master has told me that the quota for the Heaven Accessing Place is a small matter. The most important thing now is the Song of Witches Conference. If you can get a quota for the Wu Song Conference, you can enter the Wizard Magical Pond of the Sorcerer Tribe and Sorcerer Power. I think you know how important this is for you." Elder Hong looked at Bumming's eyes. Feng Bumming was. Feng Bumming looked serious and said in a low voice, "Don't worry, Elder Hong. I, Feng Bumming, will definitely win a spot in the Sorcerer's Song Conference and bring glory to my tribe." It translation is that is. Is translation is Wu. Translation nen translation translation translation. Translation 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 translation. Right now, the Phoenix Clan's matters, big and small, are basically all presided over by me and Protector Xuanhua, Elder Hong said. Translation. Where is Elder translation? Elder and Elder and Elder. Elder Hong Elders. Great Clan Elder and Third Clan Elder brought Mu Chen Shui to the Demon Domain to search for Mu Chen Shui's origin. "You don't need to worry about this matter," Elder Hong said. Feng Bumming nodded. He had known that Elder Hong Yu was going to take Mu Chen Shui to the demon area. But he did not expect that Elder Hong Yu and the others would leave so quickly. They left the tribe while he was in seclusion. "Feng Bumming, you have just broken through and your realm is not stable yet. You came out of seclusion. Are you in a hurry?" Protector He Xian said. Feng Bumming said, 2 enforcers, and 2 clan elders, you should all know Uefu, right? Elder Hong nodded and said, "Is it the girl from the Sacred Martin clan? I know about that. Previously, you even brought this girl to the Phoenix Cry Palace. Is it related to this girl that you came out of seclusion?" "Yes, Uefu sent me a message. The 3 commanders of the Phoenix Blood City have all died. Even the leader of the Sacred Martin clan, Jing Cai, has died. According to her, they were all killed by the same person." Feng Bumming said. "What? The 3 commanders of the Phoenix Blood City and the leader of the Sacred Martin clan were all killed. What is going on? We didn't know." Elder Hong's pupils constricted as he said in surprise. Uefu mentioned this before. It was one of the commanders of the Phoenix City, Gaoge, who sealed the news in advance. It is said that she wanted to take the secret of the murderer for herself. Speaking of this, Feng Bumming looked at Elder Hong with bright eyes and said, "Elder Hong, do you know the name of the murderer?" Who is it? Elder Hong asked. Yuefu said that the murderer's name is Zhuoan. Isn't this name the same as the human who kidnapped the saintess? Do you think there is such a coincidence? Feng Bumming said in a low voice. Zhuoan? Could it be that that damn little bastard has entered the great desolate heaven realm? Elder Hong's eyes flickered, but he quickly realized that something was wrong and said, that Zhuoan is only a human. Even if he enters the great desolate heaven realm, he won't be able to hide the aura of a human. As long as a human enters the great desolate heaven realm, it will be easy for us foreign races to recognize him and attack him together. If that Zhuoan appeared in the great desolate heaven realm, the news would have spread long ago. Maybe that Zhuoan has a way to hide the aura of a human? Feng Bumming said. Impossible, the aura of a human is innate, it can't be hidden at all. Even the supreme experts of the human race can't hide their aura after entering the great desolate heaven realm. I've seen that Zhuoan before. He's just an ant. Back then, he relied on the starry sky tower to luckily repel our foreign race army. That's why his reputation shook. But his true strength is far inferior to yours. Elder Hong shook his head. Since Elder Hong said so, the murderer called Zhuoan shouldn't be the human race's Zhuoan. But I'm very interested in this Zhuoan. He actually dared to kill the 3 great commanders of the Phoenix Blood City and the patriarch of the sacred Martin race. He doesn't put us Phoenix people in his eyes at all. Feng Bumming's eyes shot out dense killing intent. Elder Hong nodded and said, this Zhuoan can kill the 3 great commanders. I'm afraid he's not an ordinary early-stage great desolate heaven realm expert. But Bumming, you have the bloodline of the Phoenix people. In terms of bloodline, you have a natural advantage. You can fight with an ordinary middle-stage great desolate heaven realm expert. As long as that Zhuoan's cultivation is not at the middle-stage great desolate heaven realm, it won't be difficult for you to kill him. Fine, you just advanced not long ago. It's time to show your talent and strength to the world. This time, I'll accompany you to the Phoenix Blood City. You can challenge that Zhuoan and fight him on the Weeping Blood Arena. If he doesn't dare to come to the Phoenix Blood City, then we'll send out the clan's experts to arrest him. Feng Bumming's eyes revealed a proud look. He said indifferently, even if he's at the middle stage great desolate heaven realm, I have the confidence to defeat him. Because my Phoenix sacred technique has already been cultivated to the peak of the 10th level. What? You've cultivated the Phoenix sacred technique to the 10th level? Elder Hong and the 2 guardians of Xuanhua looked at Feng Bumming in shock. The Phoenix sacred technique was the Phoenix people's secret technique. It was a supreme cultivation technique with a total of 15 levels. Since ancient times, those who could cultivate to the 10th level and above were rare. Feng Bumming was so young, but he was able to cultivate to the 10th level. His talent was too terrifying. And the benefits of the Phoenix sacred technique were real. It could greatly increase Feng Bumming's combat strength. Chapter 3247. Elder Hong, I'll have to trouble you to spread the news of me going to Phoenix Blood City. I want to see if that Zhuoan dares to come to Phoenix Blood City to accept the challenge. Feng Bumming said. Leave it to me. Elder Hong nodded. In Phoenix Blood City, the Emerald Blood Tea House reopened as usual. However, the owner of the Emerald Blood Tea House had been changed to Humai. Humai was very smart. She did not spread the news of Emerald Blood Mulberry's death. She only announced that Emerald Blood Mulberry had appointed her as the new owner of the tea house. She was very clear that the reason why the Emerald Blood Tea House could operate safely in Phoenix Blood City was mainly because of Emerald Blood Mulberry, a veteran expert. Many of the foreign races who coveted the Emerald Blood Tea House did not cause trouble because they were afraid of Emerald Blood Mulberry's power. If the news of Emerald Blood Mulberry's death were to spread, Humai was very clear that she would not be able to stay as the owner of the Emerald Blood Tea House for long. She might even be killed. Humai's beautiful eyes focused. The communication jade at her waist lit up. She took it down and checked the news inside. Her beautiful eyes revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. She looked around and quickly saw 2 figures in a remote corner of the first floor of the Emerald Blood Tea House. The two figures were wrapped up so tightly that I couldn't see their faces clearly. I walked over and smiled. "Guests, are you looking for a room?" "Yes, boss." "Arrange the best room for us." The figure with his back facing I said in a hoarse voice. I understood tacitly and led the two to the 10th floor of the Emerald Blood Tea House. After reaching the 10th floor, I opened the heaven room and let the two enter. She looked around and after confirming that there was no one, she flashed into the room. After closing the door, Humai's beautiful eyes looked excitedly at the two people who had taken off their thick coats. But soon, Humai revealed a worried expression. She said in a deep voice, "Zhuoan, why did you enter Phoenix Blood City again? Right now, your name is spreading like wildfire in Phoenix Blood City. It is said that the #1 prodigy of the Phoenix people, Feng Bumming, personally came to Phoenix Blood City because of you. It is really not the right time for you to enter Phoenix Blood City now." The two men who had taken off their thick coats were none other than Zhuoan and Sai Ku. After Zhuoan left the Sacred Martin clan, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he returned to Phoenix Blood City. He had originally planned to barge into the Phoenix people. Furthermore, he had killed the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. The Phoenix people would definitely send a large number of troops to intercept him at the border of their territory. Since that was the case, he might as well do the opposite and return to Phoenix Blood City. Zhuoan naturally didn't dare to stay in any of the other inns in Phoenix Blood City. Only the Bloodshed Tea House was absolutely the safest for him. After all, the person in charge of the Green Blood Tea House now was Humai, not the original Green Blood Sang. Feng Bumming came to Phoenix Blood City? Did he come for me? Could it be that Feng Bumming knew that I would come to Phoenix Blood City? Zhuoan asked in surprise. Feng Bumming probably doesn't know, but before he came to Phoenix Blood City, he had already spoken. He will be waiting for you at Phoenix Blood City's Weeping Blood platform. If you have the guts, then come over and accept his challenge. He also said that if you can survive the Weeping Blood platform, he, Feng Bumming, will not pursue the matter of you killing the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. Furthermore, he will even give you the title of a guest elder of the Phoenix people, Humai said. What a big tone. This Feng Bumming is really arrogant. Is he so sure that he can kill me at the Weeping Blood platform? Zhuoan sneered. Humai hesitated for a moment and said, "Zhuoan, that Feng Bumming is the #1 prodigy of the Phoenix people. He is well known among the younger generation of the primitive Heaven Domain. Back then, when Feng Bumming was still a half-step Ascension Master, he had already killed a Ascension Master at the initial stage. Furthermore, it is said that when Feng Bumming came out of seclusion this time, he had already successfully broken through to Ascension Master. I'm afraid that his combat power will only be more terrifying." Zhuoan didn't care. In his opinion, no matter how strong Feng Bumming's talent was, he had only just become a Ascension Master. Even if his combat power was terrifyingly strong, he would at most be on par with Gaoge. Did that Feng Bumming say when he will arrive at Phoenix Blood City? Zhuoan asked. It should be in a few days. Zhuoan, do you want to leave before Feng Bumming arrives? I know of a secret passage that can secretly leave Phoenix Blood City, Humai said worriedly. No need. I really want to see what kind of tricks that Feng Bumming is up to. Miss Humai, during this period of time, I might have to trouble you to help me find out about that Feng Bumming. Zhuoan looked at Humai and said. Humai nodded. She wanted to persuade him again, but when she saw the determined look on Zhuoan's face, she knew that it was useless for her to persuade him. After Humai left, Sai Ku got up and went to another room to cultivate. As for Zhuoan, he entered the Great World. He entered the Great World to see how his original body's cultivation was going. Ever since his original body obtained the Blue Frost Heavenly Spirit Ganoderma, his cultivation had improved tremendously. QL11 His original body sat cross-legged on a patch of grass on a small island in the middle of the lake. The aura around him was like an angry dragon dancing around continuously. Waves of white gas surged out of his body's acupuncture points. The original body had already consumed half of the Blue Frost Heavenly Spirit Ganoderma between his hands. His original body's cultivation had also advanced from the early stage of the creator realm to the late stage of the creator realm. He was not far from the peak stage of the creator realm. Zhuowen was a little surprised. The blue frost heavenly spirit Ganoderma was a high-grade heaven-reaching divine medicine. The surging medicinal power within it was enough to allow a heaven-reaching master to break through a small realm. However, his original body was only a creator realm. After consuming half of the blue frost heavenly spirit Ganoderma, he had only advanced from the early stage of the creator realm to the late stage of the creator realm. His original body's appetite was too big. Zhuowen sighed softly. He knew that this had a lot to do with his original body not having a Dao root. His original body had forcefully attained the Dao without a Dao root. His situation was very special. The energy consumption was even more terrifying than those geniuses in the primitive celestial realm who had powerful bloodlines. Ordinary people could not afford to raise him. It could be said that the resources Zhuowen had spent on his original body were enough to create several heaven-reaching masters. However, his original body had only advanced to the creator realm. Of course, this was not without benefits. His original body's combat power was far superior to that of a creator realm. He could fight with the creator realm. However, his original body's combat power was far inferior to his clones. His clone's Pangu sacred body had only advanced to 7 stars, but it could already defeat an early-stage heaven-reaching master. This was a very terrifying battle record. Zhuowen, I know you're here. You've already arrived at the Phoenix people. When are you going to let me go? How long are you going to imprison me here? On the small island in the middle of the lake, the resentful voice of the Phoenix people's saintess came from a luxurious pavilion. At the same time, Ghost Plume and Yin Wuxie walked out and bowed respectfully to Zhuowen. Zhuowen waved his hand, indicating that Ghost Plume and Yin Wuxie did not need to be so polite. He then stepped into the pavilion. Creak. Zhuowen opened the door and saw the crazed saintess of the Phoenix people. He said calmly, "Saintess, you don't have the bloodline of the 99 Phoenix body anymore. Even if you go back to the Phoenix people, what can you do? Can you still be the saintess?" The saintess of the Phoenix people was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She looked panicked and said hurriedly, "Then return the bloodline of the 99 Phoenix body to me. When I go back, I'll still be the saintess. No one can take my position away from me." Zhuowen shook his head and waved his sleeve, unlocking the array formation restriction in the room. "Saintess, I've already unlocked the array formation restriction in this room. You can move freely in my great world." After saying this, Zhuowen left the small island in the middle of the lake. The saintess of the Phoenix people had lost her bloodline and was no longer a threat to him. He did not need to guard against her as if she were a thief. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,